Hey, Action Shelf listeners, before we jump into the show itself, we want to tell you about how you can get even more action in your life. That appeals to you.
More action, you say,
More action,
John.
you say. Yes, if you go over to our Podbean patron page, that's patron.podbean.com/punchup. You can listen to Lisman and I watch, what's this? Good action movies.
Good action movies, you say?
That's right, a change of pace. We thought behind the paywall, let's give people something of quality.
And give us something of quality.
I know, it's such a pleasure to do that. So twice a month, you and I will be doing commentary tracks that you can download for good action movies, all kinds of awesome stuff from a lot of our heroes like John Woo. And we've done stuff from the John Wick franchise and Sylvester Stallone, Arnold Schwarzenegger, all the guys we never get to talk about on here.
Yeah, so stuff we legitimately love and love to share with you all.
Yeah. So you can listen to that as well as other cool exclusive content from the Punch Up Entertainment Network shows. Once again, the address for that is patron.podbean.com/punchup. And now, into the action.
The Action Show. Action Show. The Action Show. The Action Show.
Welcome to the Action Shelf. The podcast celebrates the glory of B action movies. I'm John Campbell.
I'm Michael Lisman.
Oh, Lisman, 'tis the season here on the Action Shelf as we enter December. We are doing a month of Christmas-themed action movies.
Yes. And I believe for this week we have a guest. I want to say Santa Claus. John, did you get Santa Claus in the studio today?
That's right.
Ho, ho, hum.
Yeah. Ho, ho, hum is about as good a review for this. Yes, our friend, and I think he still holds the record for most appearances on this show. I believe he's our most frequent guest.
What a week. What a
Brendan
week
Jones.
of delight.
Yes.
Thank you, everybody, and thank you, dicks, for making me watch this movie.
We were talking about this beforehand, though. This is not the worst thing we've made you watch. This is not good.
Not even close.
No, this movie is damned with competence. It has a baseline competence, which a Bronski movie doesn't. I was originally slated for a Bronski, and I was kind of excited to return.
Yeah, we were going to do that and kind of at the last minute because we were like, oh, this is like requires money to rent, and we just went, you know what? Yeah. Let's swap it out. And so instead we gave you a Superman actor.
Yes. Yeah, well, that works as a tie-in. But the thing I will say is that the thing that you should have told me, because you guys know what a devout Christian I am, and you did not set me up for a movie that was this violent, this salacious. So better, do better next time.
Well,
because I was so offended by this movie.
Well, that's interesting because I think our leading man might have snuck in some of his beliefs into this otherwise generic action movie. Because this is
not just Tim, but production companies and so forth right off the bat. I was like, oh boy.
Which is interesting,
nice.
though. We've talked about because we've done a couple of. This is not on paper overtly a Christian action movie, but they get it in there. They get it in.
I don't think it's that subtle. You keep making it sound like it's subtle. They was just beating over the head. Are you the angel of whatever
the best cut in the movie is, Lord, send us an angel of mercy. Cut to Dean Cain running.
No. Cut to Dean Cain. Totally. What do you call it? with his rifle.
Oh, he's racking his shotgun.
He's racking his shotgun. Yeah, that's it. Thank you, Mr. Gun Guy.
Yeah.
But he's racking it. That's the thing. It's like,
I have some
Angel
comments
Mercy
about
goes,
the guns.
And I'm like, okay, all right, that is America right there.
I do wish
that's God and Jesus right there with a gun.
They couldn't afford it, but if they had done "Send Me an Angel,"
oh, of course, yes,
right now.
I just think it's amazing that this is a movie, and I didn't know how much I needed.
End of sentence.
Well played, Mr. Listman. I was going to say that this is a movie that finally gave me, a policeman, a good cop who has the guts to say Merry Christmas to people.
Oh,
that scene,
about time.
That scene. Yeah. This movie, man. This is 2003's or 2002, sorry, Christmas Rush or Breakaway, depending on who you ask.
I actually had trouble finding it at first because I didn't follow your link. I just was like trying to tell my Fire TV, hey Alexa, find this thing for me, and Alexa's like, I don't know what the fuck you're talking about, and I was like, all right. And I was like, all right, Breakaway, because I was like, I was trying to find Christmas Rush.
Well, because it's weird, because IMDb credits it as Christmas Rush, but then the DVD cover art is Breakaway, and the YouTube thing that I did send you a link to and that I watched last night calls it Breakaway when it comes up. Even the YouTube link says Christmas or Breakaway, or Christmas Rush.
The thing is does
a lot of
Breakaway mean anything?
No.
In this movie at all?
No, Christmas Rush is a fine title for this movie.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it actually is a good title because it's an action movie, hence the rush, but also it's about the money from the Christmas Rush. I did also like that the whole plan in this movie would be obsolete today in a frequently cashless world, right?
Yeah, I know.
Yes.
I know.
There would be the because that is always the thing I think about these heist. I love heist movies and I watch a lot of old heist movies. I'm just going like, so hard to do a heist movie today because all heists today are just hacking into a system and draining accounts. Well, that's not very cinematic. It's literally that last Michael Mann movie was he's like, I don't know, I guess it's about hackers now. Black Hat was like, I guess Michael Mann goes, if I want to make a modern day crime movie, it's got to be about Chris Hemsworth as a hacker. And people kind of went, that's not the most thrilling of your movies, man.
And I do love the fact that we live in a world in which if you're going to do a cinematic thriller heist movie with a hacker, it's always going to be someone like that person or Hugh Jackman.
Well, I do. I do agree with. I remember reading a review of that movie at the time. Of course, people tuned in to hear my thoughts on Black Hat, which I think is totally fine. But I do agree. People go, this movie would be so much more interesting if it was the exact same movie, but Jesse Eisenberg or Michael Cera in the lead.
Right.
And I'm going, I
somebody
agree.
A little bit more believable.
I agree. That would have been great if it's Jesse Eisenberg as the cold thief of a Michael Mann movie now because he's a computer expert.
Yeah.
Anyway, this movie, though, this is still glorious 2002, I guess. But Dean Cain, this is our second Dean Cain movie that we've done on the show.
True.
We also did Vendetta.
This is earlier.
Yeah,
because Vendetta came. When did Vendetta come out? Semi-recently, right? 2017.
Yeah, somewhere in there. Yeah. Somewhere in there, which was an incredibly stupid. He is. I was looking at his IMDb here. And he has gone. It is all overtly Christian, like even in title movies now. Like they're always loosely Christian, but now literally.
Well, this one I can't remember which one. There's like two production companies, and one is like Changing the World Pictures or something,
and it is
but tagline.
Their tagline,
which was we tell the stories that Hollywood cannot.
Yeah, that was it. And I had the exact same thought. I'm like, oh, we're in trouble now.
Yeah.
Yeah, literally, like you look at the stuff he's doing now. It's like A Child of the King, One Life at a Time, Faith Under Fire, He's gone hard into that stuff. Oh, One Cop's Journey.
Well, I'll say this for him. This is the first time I've seen Dean Cain in a thing since I watched Lois and Clark years ago.
Yeah.
He has not crossed my radar since.
Yeah.
He's likable. I mean, I was sitting there going like, oh, you know, whatever your politics aside, I was like, you're not a great actor, but I forgot you can actually be engaging, and you're fit at least 20 years ago. Fit, handsome, charming, and you always forget how high his voice is. I'm like, that's kind of nice too, because he's kind of like a relatable, like,
I agree.
Hey guys, I just want to make up with my wife. And you're like, okay, great.
That was I thought he was a fine Superman, but it was the voice that always kind of bothered me about his Superman. Not that Superman needs to be down here necessarily, but I always thought he was a little too light as Superman. And that show was romantic comedy Superman, so it kind of worked, I guess.
Yeah.
Because that
he was
show
the right
was
guy
light.
for that version.
Yeah, that was a design to be a light Superman, a light light touch Superman.
This does not, by the way, my admission here does not mean I will be seeking out any further Dean Cain.
I would recommend.
I was telling
Listman,
I was watching 2003's Out of Time the other day, the Denzel Washington thriller, and he popped into that, and I went, God, I forgot he ever made anything in the studio system. Like the fact that he ever was in like just seeing a scene between him and Denzel Washington was so weird. I'm going like, God, these two shared the screen?
They did until they had to shoot separately because Dean Cain found out about the non-Christian ideals that Denzel Washington lives by.
That heathen. But I do love the idea of having a problem with Denzel, like one of the most family-oriented,
of course,
lovable guys in Hollywood. But yeah, he would be.
I have a feeling that Dean Cain, a la a Kirk Cameron, will find whatever it is that they will dislike because you're not walking the same path that they are.
Yeah.
Has Dean Cain and Kirk Cameron ever worked together?
I don't.
They have to.
They must have, right?
I haven't seen it yet.
They should do a buddy cop movie. I'd watch that.
Yeah.
Oh, we would cover that in a second on this show. Are you kidding me?
Sure would, yeah.
He does have 11 movies in various production right now, Dean Cain. So the guy is always working, but as you're talking about, he's not on your radar because everything he makes is exclusively made for the... And that's why I'm saying this movie was at least attempting to chase the action market and present itself. Now he's in movies that don't even come close to not indicating what they are.
Because it's in the titles.
Right. And so let's talk about who's... I do want to talk about the guy who... This is a writer-director. It's another auteur movie, Listman.
Wow.
Charles Robert Carner is the writer-director of this movie. A guy who has some credits you'll recognize. This is the man who wrote Jim Cotta.
Whoa!
This is the writer of 1985's Jim Cotta.
So IMDb says that this man was born in 1957.
Yes.
And I think that is a lie because watching this movie, I was convinced that a 7-year-old wrote it because everything about it is so juvenile and so stupid that
Brandon,
only a 7-year-old could write it.
You were talking about there's a certain level of competence. I do think I don't have a budget, but there's at least a little bit of money here.
All the money went to renting out a mall and then buying stuff
Eric
to blow up.
Yeah, and pyrotechnics.
Yes. Is Eric Roberts expensive to get?
I don't
but I would just say for an indie film, he's expensive for an indie film.
Sure, okay.
But I mean, he is a name, and he's not doing this thing for less than what his asking price is.
I think he has a specific
because
quote.
He's not part of the crusade. So I think they're like, well, let's get him in there anyway.
There's a few of these guys like Eric Roberts. Well, you're like, they're in Christian movies, and you're like, no, they're in anything.
Yeah,
if you can pay them, they don't care.
And speaking of the baseline competence, I liked Eric Roberts in this.
I
like what he chose to do with his character, which is a very understated Eric Roberts.
Listman and I were talking about that before we go on here. It's like Eric Roberts is a good actor. This whole thing is he'll be in anything, but you can't be a bad actor and be in The Dark Knight. You know, like he shows up in that, and he's great in The Dark Knight as Saul Maroni.
Yeah.
Like,
I'm not exactly sure, other than wild old days, you hear plenty of stories, but I'm not exactly sure why his trajectory went down as much as it did, because he is a guy, like you just said, you can plug him into a big film by a big director with even a small part, and he'll bring it. He's good, and he's an interesting.
That's the thing. Whenever it happens, I go, "Oh shit!" He was like a standout often in movies. I see him in. Yeah. He can show up in Stallone's The Expendables and like steal 3 scenes as the bad guy. You know,
it's similar to a Cage situation. We know why Cage had to take some of the low road, was just literally he had to get that money.
Yeah.
But in the case of Eric Roberts, I think his rep may have ruined him for a while, or done damage.
He had
or
some
something.
Substance abuse issues,
or
he
wasn't also being offered stuff. I know that there's no way to really perpetuate, and even if you become a huge star, you're just going to fall out of favor. And Eric Roberts is an odd one too. So maybe it's like, dude, if you were matinee idol guy, we could have you could have had many comebacks.
Totally.
You're not going to have that.
I actually have a theory about Eric Roberts, and I want to see what you guys think about it.
Because we do talk about Eric Roberts a lot on this show.
Oh, I'm sure. Because he's the best of the best.
Right, exactly.
That's upcoming. We are going to do Best of the Best, of course, on this show.
Oh.
He has been in 700 films.
Yep.
He currently has 30 movies in production right now.
Yep.
He's in 30 movies per year. So my theory
the average is about 30 movies a year, yeah.
Yeah. So my theory is that he made some sort of Faustian bargain to have a long-lasting career. Now, he didn't get into the nitty-gritty of the
He didn't look at the fine print.
Yeah,
exactly. So
it's exactly the same bargain that John Carradine signed.
Yes.
Exactly.
It's very much in the. But I do think he's a guy. My theory, of course, as we've talked about, Listman, the guy's in 700. He's got 700 IMDb titles. Yes. He's in 30 movies a year. My theory is he's a guy who just never doesn't want to be on a film set. He wants to spend every day of his life on a set, and he doesn't. As long as you meet the quote, he'll show up. Now, the difference is, and one of the reasons we like Eric Roberts on the show, he'll do the work. He'll be in your piece of shit Lifetime movie, and he'll be good.
Yeah. Yeah, he's not going to phone it in.
Because actually, as I was looking, I was like, I feel like I saw him in something recently where he's really good. He was really good on The Righteous Gemstones in season 2.
Oh, he was.
Great on there. And he was toe-to-toe with Goodman, and their scenes crackled, man. They're just two pros.
They did.
Yeah. And so I agree. Anytime he's in this movie, I am looking at he is interesting. Even though this is a totally generic bad guy character, he is bringing some life to it.
Yeah, and why did they make him sympathetic? Why even introduce that?
Well, listen, here's something I need to tell you about Christianity. At its core, it's about forgiveness.
But this movie isn't.
It's
That's
about
the
forgiveness.
Thing.
Does Dean Cain forgive him? I think Dean Cain is
only after he kills him.
For stopping him from paying for his child's leukemia,
this is the thing.
Bills.
I'm with you, Listman, on the why would you make the villain sympathetic and then not lean into it more in the plot? Because it kind of comes, it sort of remembers he's supposed to be sympathetic, but he'll just be a straight up bad guy for a stretch of time, and then he'll be like, but my kid's dying.
You know what? Right. The writing demanded it.
Because I will say, when you talk about this, this is where I was going with the movie is somewhat competently directed. The big problem here is this script. This script is awful. Yeah. It is awful. And this is the man who wrote Jim Cotta. He also wrote another future episode, I'm sure.
Wait.
Yeah.
Wait, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
You use that as if, and this is the man who wrote Jim Cotta. You can't just toss that off like, that is my example of him doing something of worth.
No.
He's the guy who had to, in his brain, and then on the page, and then on the screen, come up with a reason why there's a pommel horse in the middle of some sort of village, so the guy can have a climactic fight.
There's a couple other things I want to point out from his IMDb, though. A future movie that I actually do like, I was going to say a future episode of this show for sure, is the Rutger Hauer movie Blind Fury he wrote.
Yes. Blind Fury is actually a lot of fun.
I love Blind Fury, but I think that helps that Philip Noyce directed that, who's a good filmmaker. Sure. He wrote the TV remake of Vanishing Point.
Wow!
With a young pre-fame Viggo Mortensen.
Okay.
But the one I do have to talk about is the movie he makes after this. His next directorial effort is he wrote and directed the Larry the Cable Guy starrer Witless Protection. Which is a Larry the Cable Guy action comedy. Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I think that's cool.
Hi, man. I saw Christmas Rush, and I said, I got to get this guy to direct my movie. And then I just want to, this guy's IMDb profile photo is him holding a rifle in a camo hat standing next to Jon Voight. That tells me everything about him.
Oh,
and Jon Voight's wearing a cowboy hat, of course. And I'm going like, yep, that seems like the guy who made Christmas Rush to me. Anyway, he was also a staff writer on the syndicated Untouchables show from the 90s. Do you remember that?
Yeah, I'm seeing that on his IMDb.
Yeah,
yes.
I don't know this.
I watched it as a kid. It's weak.
You're like, why?
That was a time when I would watch anything. As you guys remember, the 90s was, you had what you had, kind of. You had more options, but you still were, and you're going like, I was going like, it's like vaguely 1930s stuff. I guess I'll watch this. Anyway, let's talk about Christmas Rush, because there's so many.
Yes, let's.
There's so much weird stuff in this movie. Like, because I knew the pitch, and I had told you guys that from what I'm like, okay, it's Die Hard in a shopping mall. That's your elevator pitch.
Yes.
But there's so many weird decisions on what is such a generic, because we watch a lot of Die Hard ripoff movies on this show.
We've seen Die Hard in a mall before on this podcast.
This is not the first.
Security.
This is not even the first Die Hard in a mall we've seen.
No.
Now, I never saw a Die Hard in the mall movie, but I do believe we were witness to Phantom of the Mall, Eric's Revenge.
That's true. That over on Meet the Monsters, you can listen to the episode Listman's
and
on.
I enjoyed that more.
Well, actually, Listman, we actually kind of legitimately like the other Die Hard in the Mall movie.
I had a great time with that
movie. For those who, that was way earlier in the year. That movie's called Security with Antonio Banderas and Ben Kingsley. Ooh. Really?
Yes.
Yeah, and we talked. That was like one of the best we saw. We're like, this may have gone straight to video, but this one's kind of good.
It's pretty good, yeah.
This movie, like I said though, it's just sort of like, it's such a generic setup, but they make so many weird decisions. And weird decision number one is the fact that these guys know each other and their kids go to the same school. That's the thing I just kept thinking. Imagine if John McClane and Hans Gruber are like, yeah, kids go to the same school actually.
Yeah.
That's such a bizarre decision to me. Like, it creates this weird dynamic between them that you actually could have worked, once again, if you had actually written a movie that was about, like, they kind of half-heartedly do the, like, I know you, man. But if it was really like, let me actually, here's me as I do over on Meet the Monsters 2, Brendan, so you're used to this. Let me try to fix the movie slightly. Make Roberts the partner. Make the actual main bad guy his partner.
Sure.
And then it really
work.
And his partner's kid is dying, so he's forced to do this. And then it really is like, come on, man, you're my best friend. Don't make me do this. Like, that would have given it a hell of a lot more drama.
Yeah, Did this need more drama?
His partner? You didn't like his partner that was in this movie?
I think his partner's the worst actor in the movie.
Yeah. You think?
But he was the most convincing Chicagoan in the entire thing.
Oh, there's no question about that, but
true.
He is just Radzinsky. I just love every time they go, Radzinsky. The first.
Now you're telling me that one of the hostages is my own goddaughter.
Oh, Jesus.
It wasn't supposed to go this way.
I will say, if you go to his IMDb, the first credit under known for the movie Chicago. For this Chicagoan actor.
It's true.
Yeah, and he played a cop in that. Yeah. How you doing? I'm a Chicago cop. It's what I do. Hey, you guys are making a movie. Do you need a really Chicagoan cap? Because
we do, in fact.
Well,
are you Christian?
The thing I like about this, though, is right at the start of this movie when they're on the stake, and I'm like, well, his partner's going to get killed. And then when his partner didn't get killed, I go, his partner's going to be evil. The only reason not to kill the partner is to then make him evil. That was the thing.
There should be an action shelf flow chart. You know what I mean? If partner doesn't die at beginning of movie, then go down to partner will eventually betray.
By the way, listeners, 2 weeks in a row we've had a Chicago set action week, so we did Code of Silence last week. But I was going to say, Code of Silence did an interesting thing where they did buck the trend by having Dennis Farina as Chuck Norris's partner, and they had him wounded at the beginning and then was never evil.
Yes.
Wow. He survived.
Yeah,
he survived and didn't betray Chuck. I was shocked. This guy is, of course, a huge piece of shit.
Weird.
So we get this whole opening, though, and I actually have this written down, here, his whole opening narration, Eric Roberts, because this sets up the whole movie, right? Is this thing about this mall, which I have huge questions about this mall.
No, you're right. It's in Canada.
Yeah. For those of you who just fell off the broccoli boat, Chicago Place is the most exclusive shopping mall in the Chicago area. The Christmas rush is their busiest and most profitable season. At the end of each business day, 57 retailers deposit their cash receipts in the basement vault. Once a week, a CST armored car drives that money to the Northern Trust Bank. The last pickup before Christmas, and the biggest, is scheduled for the evening of December 24th. On Christmas Eve, there'll be $10 to $12 million in unmarked, untraceable cash sitting in that basement vault. And there's our heist, right? Which is...
Yes, that is the setup.
Also just a bad way to do business, as far as I'm concerned.
True.
That's a lot of cash to keep on hand.
This is the same essential heist plot as the Snotes brothers in Raising Arizona. Where it's like, where they're sitting there going like, it looks like a hayseed bank. Truth is, it is a hayseed bank, except for one day of the month when all the farm subsidy checks comes in. And it's the same thing. It's like, we hit it on the day when it's really flush. And that's right, we using code names.
It's a pretty
and they do that in this movie.
Yeah.
They got what Blow Up Boy
Kid Blast. Listman and I's favorite character.
Jesus.
Well, listen, you were watching this the other night, and you just texted me going, "There's a character in this movie named Kid Blast."
Is he the brother of the other guy?
Yes.
The two brothers, and they're both explosive experts, which makes it very confusing why one of them is getting on the job training at one point.
Is it weird that I liked the on the job training of being like a explosives expert?
Yeah,
that was one of my favorite scenes in the movie.
I enjoyed
even though
that
it made
too.
no sense.
He's like, you know why we do this, don't you? So the contacts will. That's right. And then it's like, what the fuck is it?
Oh, good. And then good job, little bro.
Good job, little bro. And then for the rest of the movie, them using the Human Torch's "Flame On" as a catchphrase.
Constantly.
I knew we were going to talk about that, where I'm going like, Brendan, what do you think about them using, the Human Torch? Also, Kid Blast, was he a Flash villain?
I think he was.
So,
we get this
and it's a movie where Dean Cain says Brainiac. And was that on purpose?
Yeah.
I'd like to think so.
Coincidence?
I'm trying to remember if
I don't believe in them. So
he must have fought Brainiac on Lois and Clark. I don't remember offhand though. But they did do most of the Rogues Gallery, I think.
Well, whether they did or didn't, I just thought, oh, look, the Superman actor just said Brainiac.
I did think it was weird that he turned to the camera and then winked after he said it, which was unnecessary.
I do like the part, or, for me it was great, where Erica Laniak, as the wife, says, I need you to tell me the absolute truth, and he says, I'm going to give you absolute candor, and then looked at the camera.
It's almost as if it's a bottled city. So we start with Dean Cain and his partner. They're on a stakeout of waiting for this gang to rob a Chinese restaurant.
Apparently,
I don't know how they've got this tip, but I will say this is, Listman, we see a lot of bad cops on this show. Is Dean Cain the worst cop we've seen? He is a horrible police officer.
He is, yes. That is true. I don't know if he's the worst, but
yeah, we've seen a lot of bad ones.
The bar is very low.
But this is, I'm sure Seagal played the worst one, let's be honest.
Yes.
I love the fact that they're, as you say, waiting for whatever the crime is to go down.
Yeah.
So they are, they're doing we're in the unidentified, unmarked police car, but we're completely marked. Yeah. I love that he's sitting in there with his bulletproof, flak vest on that has the big word police on it. And they're just sitting there like they're undercover. I'm like, I don't think anyone walking by on the sidewalk is going to be too surprised because you're wearing the big police.
And it's also in classic action show fashion. There's no one around because we can't afford extras.
And also he and his partner are literally sitting in the car doing this with their mouths. Woo! 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 That's probably not the thing you should do when you're undercover as a cop.
Probably not.
Listman, this is given a run for the most one-liners in a movie this year because there's a lot in this movie.
So many.
And the first one is right here where he's talking about, my wife is bothering me for a trip to Bermuda or whatever to go scuba diving, and the best I can do is a snorkel in the bathtub. And then he says, "Can't show her the money, gotta show her the love."
This is us getting to know him as a person. We see his struggles. He wants to do right by his wife, who he deeply loves, but he doesn't have the money.
Do you think, by the way, speaking of Kirk Cameron, do you think Dean Cain had some issues with his wife being a former Playboy playmate, Erica Eleniak?
I could only assume he did.
Yeah.
But maybe she redeemed herself when she refused to play an ex-porn star in
Bordello of Blood, yeah.
She's like, that won't be part of my character anymore because I'm playing her.
Oh, I'm looking at her IMDb, Brendan. Stay tuned for her over on Meet the Monsters.
Really?
Yeah, Dracula 3000.
Well, we are watching Bordello of Blood, and
Bordello of Blood, and then she's also in Dracula 3000. So, which is that's the space Dracula movie.
That's one of those titles.
Hey, yeah. I love that. That's Dracula 2000, right? Hey,
drink it like an open vein.
That's like one of those titles that is made up, like that would be made up in another TV show.
Oh, that'd be like
what are you watching? Yeah. I'm watching Dracula 3000.
It's a poster.
It's like, that's a totally real
on
film.
The set of a movie theater on a sitcom is Dracula 3000. Yeah.
Oh, exactly. Can I just say that I product placement in this movie. I'm sure it was something that they made. But at one point in the mall, he's out in front of the IMAX theater. And what is the IMAX theater showing, as in what movie poster behind it? It is a Christian film called The One.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, that's the producers or director having a nice dream.
Oh, that's the other. Yeah, that's in IMAX. Sure. This guy, that's the other thing. This guy also made the Judas movie. It's just called Judas. The guy who made this. Yeah, that adds
finally up. From his side.
I think you'll find his story's a little bit different. He does that actually right after this. 2004 is Judas, and it's our old friend Jonathan Shake. He plays Judas in that.
I like him too. I wish he hadn't disappeared.
Yeah. Him and and Tim Matheson is Pontius Pilate.
Oh wow! Oh wow!
Tim Matheson in a Bible movie is one of the funniest things I can even imagine.
Wow! I mean, the guy is so American and so modern. Like it's.
And Jonathan Taylor Thomas as King Herod.
That cast, just those two names screams like it's a mid-2000s TV movie. Sure.
Yeah.
By the way, we need to clear this up. This was shot for TV, right?
Yeah, this originally premiered on TNT.
Yeah, because it's got commercial breaks. I was like, what?
Yes, that explains it.
We're doing TV, straight to video, everything. Yeah, but yes,
that's amazing. Again, considering some of the content in this movie, so much glass is broken.
Yeah, no, it is really interesting. This movie has the hint of violence. It suggests violence,
right.
Which I think is so. Anyway, this, much like everything in this movie, is all Dean Cain's fault. What happens at the beginning of this, right?
Yes.
We're supposed to be upset that they take his badge away for what he does at the beginning here.
But he does actually accidentally shoot a pedestrian, a civilian. Yeah. You know.
Yeah.
So that
and a man who sits
on
a man who sits on the council of Chinatown or whatever that they talk about later.
He's basically the mayor of Chinatown.
Yeah. I did think, okay, these guys have robbed this place. Maybe follow them back somewhere or pull them over, not surround the restaurant. They're all carrying. I also love the idea that you would carry massive assault rifles to rob number one. I also wonder how much money are you getting from a Chinese restaurant?
Well, yeah, they make good tips.
But they've got Uzis and stuff because even his partner goes, I don't think these guys are going quietly.
Yeah.
And then we get the first of so many of there's the easy way and there's the hard way. Make the right choice. I don't even.
If you're going,
I don't. I didn't write that down as a one-liner because it's just a recurring. It's his catchphrase.
No, it does. And so if this is going to be your character's yippee-ki-yay or whatever, you'd think that maybe you come up with something that is slightly original.
Yeah. No,
I mean that is the most boring thing ever.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's super boring. And then of course, what do these guys do?
You want to talk or you want to shoot?
Yeah.
Do you want peace or a bullet?
But then this is presumably in the middle of
Charlie,
downtown.
Shoot the shit.
Or shoot the gun.
But
just done something bad. You want to shoot the shit or shoot the guns? Especially read that flat would be perfect.
This is presumably in the middle of downtown, and these guys just open up with these automatic weapons.
They do.
They take a hostage.
The hostage cracked me up because it's this woman walking down the street. Okay, they're in Chinatown, and it is possible this woman doesn't speak English.
Yeah.
But is she deaf? I can only assume she's deaf because guns have already been fired.
Yeah.
But she's walking literally right next to the bad guys.
Yeah.
And the cops are all across the street going, Ma'am, no, don't go down
there. Get away!
Because go away. And she's just got a grocery bag. And the crook grabs her and it's like, now I've got a hostage.
And
wow.
I do love in classic action show
I think
fashion.
God gave him that hostage. I'm questioning God now.
In classic action show fashion, they are blasting away with these automatic weapons. Every other cop is ducking behind their car, and Dean Cain is just standing there aiming.
Yes, he is.
He's lining up his shot. No bullet touches him. I guess because
also,
he's protected by the Lord.
Take a hostage if you're not gonna, one, hide behind her, or two, because they take the hostage, but then they just start opening fire.
I know. We have a hostage, which will not affect our behavior in any way.
And then we just watch.
We're not going to use her to edge closer to our vehicles. We're going to still stand in the same spot.
Here's a question for you. How did you guys feel about the use of slow motion in this movie?
Ooh.
Which time? You're gonna have to be so specific.
I know. I'm talking about just the general aesthetic use of it in the artistic vision of the film. Very Peckinpah-esque, if you would. No.
Yeah.
I mean, it does lend to my theory that the first thing that was conceived for this film was, we're gonna blow stuff up.
Yes.
That was that was the germ.
Step number one:
the seed.
Blow things up. Everything
but
else.
Number two, if I might, Mr. Listener.
Yes.
Was the writer-director had in his head, and I have a feeling this is entirely where the movie sprung from. Blow stuff up, that's the seed.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Two is, I see a banner that says "Peace on Earth," slow motion falling to the ground.
That's the thing.
During a firefight.
This movie does have one of my favorite things an action show movie can have, which is lofty ambitions like that, where the guy's going like, okay, it's low budget action, but that doesn't mean there can't be artistic merit to it, you know?
Especially when it fell so perfectly, sort of right in front of the T-Rex as he went, ah!
Yeah.
Wait, did I get the wrong movie?
I think, yeah.
I think you might be.
I accidentally turned on Jurassic Park and then never finished
right at the
this
end.
movie.
Yeah, that's right. Oh shit! Damn it!
I will say,
I know that's where a falling banner with something on it is.
Somehow
that's where it reached its pinnacle.
If somehow Jurassic Park started playing, I never would have gone back to that. I would have just watched the rest of Jurassic Park.
Oh yeah,
But so yeah, there's tons of shooting. Oh, I do like just a stray bullet hits a car and it explodes, of course, because it's an action.
Of course.
Once again, talking about just blowing. You just see like one, like, and the car is totally off nowhere, and it's just a round goes over there, and that car goes up. But we do in slow motion just watch Dean Cain pump round after round into this guy, and and I guess we're supposed to be like, "Fuck yeah, that's what you get, crime."
And
there is
I'm
a
just
little
like,
bit of
that
blood in
woman
this.
is going to get shot. They're opening fire, and that woman is going to die.
Literally everyone would be dead with the amount of just indiscriminate automatic fire that happens here.
Yes,
countless people would be dead.
But she survives. But he has winged the important dude. That's the whole thing.
The guy with political clout, which we'll find out very quickly in the next scene, which is all in like the city hall building, where they're just going, yeah, this happened and that happened, and this whole scene is just a quick information dump.
So the guy, is that the owner of the restaurant, or is that just a patron at the restaurant?
I only say he's I only say he's no because he was in a suit and tie. Not that you couldn't wear that to a restaurant, but it seemed like he was. But I have no idea because there's no one else there.
They do explain it later, but it just flies by. It's just like you were saying, John. They explain why it's like, of all the people that could have gotten grazed by a bullet, you didn't want it to be this guy who's like a city council member and a muckety-muck from Chinatown.
And then skipping to the very end of the movie briefly here.
What?
When they talk about internal affairs has completely cleared him. Yeah, they ruled that shootout was unavoidable. No, it wasn't. It was so avoidable. My God, it couldn't have been more avoidable.
It was perhaps the most avoidable gunfight of all time. I'm holding on to the ending till the end. I want to talk about it, but
there's a lot.
I only wanted to touch on just that because I thought it was insane. This it turns out you did exactly the right thing. I'm like, no, this guy's a maniac who should not be a cop. Yeah, so immediately, of course, his partner is like, you got screwed, man. You didn't do nothing wrong. I can't believe this. I love the partner has faced no consequences for his involvement in that because he's still...
that's what's unfair.
His bullet didn't graze an important guy.
But if I like the idea that had that not happened, the operation was perfect otherwise.
Police are allowed to shoot near civilians, just not into civilians.
So he's got to go home and tell his wife he doesn't have a job for Christmas.
I have a quick question. Do they film this scene with the mayor in City Hall because they can't afford to have like a office set? Yes. So they just guerrilla filmed it in...
It does feel like that because it is weird that this would happen. And of course, you get what does he tell me? He goes, "I need your peace and your shield."
Yeah, it all happens in the hallway,
and it's all in a circling camera, which is fine. But it's one take, is what I'm saying. Like it's clearly like we don't have time to shoot in here. We got to do this all in one.
Security has not noticed that we brought cameras in here. We have to film this now.
Yeah,
we disguised the boom mic as a Christmas tree. This,
by the way, filmed at the Manitoba Legislative Building in Winnipeg, Manitoba.
Famously Chicago-esque.
No, it's it's so not Chicago. Chicago. We watched Code of Silence last week that was shot all on location in Chicago, and it was great because you really felt the city. Here, they're doing everything to avoid it being anything but generic urban setting.
Yeah.
So anyway, here at this point, I'm going, man, this seems like it's headed to like a Hallmark movie where it's like, what are we gonna do? It's Christmas and you don't have a job.
But the thing is, here's if they really want to drive this home, I mean, but he's a city employee, and I know they're not paid crazy well, but look how they're living.
Yeah.
And she's upset about you're not going to have a job for Christmas, which is apparently next week.
Well, I like this. He's putting together like a Transformer toy for his kid. I'm like, do you take you don't take like action figures out of a box. It's not like a bike that you would build. You just put it in the box and wrap it. Like
he has to build it first.
And it's just so he can get in the line, man, whoever wrote these instructions needed a translator. Foreign people.
Yeah. And he does shake his fist at the camera. Also weird.
I feel like that was a Dean Cain improv. Let's also take a slam.
And then you can see on the bag that he purchased it in, it says IKEA. Yeah. So you know where it came from.
But the whole idea of this being like, yeah, that would be something for them to worry about. But isn't this right now like, oh, you get to spend more time with us for Christmas? They are not going to be starving.
Well, that's the thing.
Probably a year. They could probably coast.
That's the thing that gets me about what are we going to do for Christmas? It's like it's next week. Most of the money's been spent. You don't need the money right on Christmas. Like you probably already
assuming Dean Cain's a good father. Yeah. See, that's your mistake.
I do love that he has kids and they don't matter to the plot at all.
Nope.
It's the wife.
No, the only kid that gets focused on is the kid hostage. Oh. And Lord knows when you said I think the partner's a worse actor in this film.
No,
I beg to differ.
Yeah, the little girl is terrible, and I feel bad because she's a little girl, but she's a little girl.
She's terrible.
Did she ever work again? Jessica Smith.
Her name is Jessica Smith.
Yeah.
Wow.
She never worked again. This is her one and only credit.
It's what God wanted for her.
Yes.
But also,
you get one, said God. You get one.
Here's the other thing, though. Once again, he's a huge piece of shit in this movie because she's going, well, maybe you should think about getting into corporate security. There's way more money in it and it's less dangerous. And he's like, come on, I'll never consider that. And he has... It's in my blood. It's not a one-liner, but I wrote this line down. It's my favorite line. Hey, you walk down the aisle with a copper.
Oh God!
God.
And there's these I know that they set it up to be this big reveal at the end because the whole idea is you're not your father.
Yeah.
You don't have to make up for anything and and you wish you could let this go. And we're like, oh, I wonder what his dad did. And at the end we find out he was a crooked cop.
He was crooked in a town full of crooked cops. Everyone in this town is crooked.
The partner goes, hey, this was earlier. He goes, hey, what was it your old man used to always say? There's nothing square in this town except for
roller derby and wrestling.
Yeah, wrestling and roller derby.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
God.
And he goes, we can do this the easy way or the hard way. Yeah. This movie really has some zingers that just, they're going to stay with you. You'll find yourself just living your life and you'll say, there's only two things that are square in this town.
I also,
wrestling
you think
and
that was the
derby.
third? You think that line was the third thing that was written down on like a legal pad when he conceptualizing the movie?
Desmond, I think that's so sweet that you think this movie was conceptualized. I think that's so generous.
You don't think there was a corkboard with note cards? He's got the cards and the string up there going.
Coming. Here it comes. Oh, man. That's why it's called breakaway. It's coming.
It's a breakaway.
Breakaway.
That actually, to be fair,
this the easy way or the hard way.
to be fair, that is how all of Dean Cain's films are created.
This writer-director literally had ingested a Blu-ray of Die Hard the night before, and then he was like, "It's coming."
Yeah,
it's coming.
But the other thing I loved in this too is she goes, well, maybe we could save money by taking the kids out of private school. And he goes, a public school in this city? Are you out of your mind?
They'll have to go to school with black people.
Poors! That's for poor people.
Listen, you said the quiet part out loud.
Whoops. Oh, sorry.
But that also, you talk about how much money do they have. They're sending the kids to private school? Then they got to be doing pretty well. And also, what they never say or make a point about any of this, she still has her job, which is
yes. Not going to make a lot working in a mall at a jewelry store in a mall.
But that's better than some things, and it's better. It's not nothing. But they are making it seem like he's on like 2-week suspension or whatever. It's like, Jesus Christ, we're gonna lose the house. And actually, speaking of
the neighbors brought over some casseroles and cans of soup. This is gonna see us through the next week.
Speaking of Jesus Christ, in this scene, she has the cross necklace, and he kind of grabs that and he goes, "We'll find a way through somehow." And there's also the scene where they're delicately playing is it Silent Night? They're playing all the Christmas songs in the movie are the religious ones, of course.
Yes.
And they do the scene where he's putting the angel on the tree and they're all staring at it, and I'm just going, oh my God.
There was
Dean Cain's got to get his Jesus shit in this movie.
You keep saying Dean Cain. This has got to be a production company, and they're like, get the actors that agree with this. But is it Eric Roberts or is it Dean Cain? What happened? Which character actually says like, "Oh, hold on a second, don't you mean Happy Holidays?"
It's Dean Cain, and that's the next scene, which is where they go to the kids recital. And this was when you see Eric Roberts here, I'm going, oh my God, so hang on, that means Eric Roberts' kids also go to this private school, but he can't afford the surgery.
Yeah. Yes, he can't afford health insurance because he's a con.
Yeah, but he's got the money to send his kids to a but he's got the money to send his kids to
because how you keep your kid in fucking private school.
There
has to be money.
I only am just now putting it together that it was the private school, so this makes no sense.
And also, wouldn't Dean, because it's not like a huge surprise, but Dean Cain's like, oh God, look who it is over there. I'm like, wouldn't he be aware that his arch nemesis criminal sends his kid to the same school?
He goes, look who's over there. Probably. Cut to Eric Roberts in slow motion walking out of this auditorium. And
he's like, oh, hello, Officer Morgan.
Listman, I have this scene. If you want to go to the IMDb for this and go to quotes,
nice.
Do you want to perform this scene with me?
Yeah.
I like it. Oh, no.
Okay, it's go to IMDb quotes, and it's about 4 down. It's the Scorsese and, by the way, Lieutenant Cornelius Morgan.
Yeah. That's his name, Cornelius?
Yeah.
Luckily, he's only called Morgan or Honey or Darling for the entire movie.
He was called Flash at one point.
Oh, that's right. He's called Flash.
Yeah.
So I thought that was his name, but I'm
Cornelius.
realizing
Did you see it, Listman? It's the Scorsese one that starts with Merry Christmas.
Yes. You want to be Scorsese?
I'll be Scorsese. You be Cornelius.
Okay.
All right. So he comes up to him after the recital and he goes, "Merry Christmas, Lieutenant."
I think you mean Happy Holidays, Jimmy. Christmas is no longer politically correct.
I'll go PC when you do. So then he turns to the wife and says, "Your daughter's very talented, Mrs. Morgan." And then they talk about this.
Thank you. And so is your
we're playing.
How did you get Erica Laniak on the podcast?
Yeah.
Oh, I wasn't looking in the camera at that moment. That is crazy.
Yeah,
I know. I transformed.
You must have watched Under Siege so many times.
Many. It's my favorite film.
And so he goes, he goes, "Yes, thank you." And then you're Cornelius.
Can we just stop for a second?
Yeah.
Oh, thank you. And so is your ... son, is it?
Yeah.
I mean,
which one
guys,
is your,
it's clearly the one who has the hair. Like, did you guys think that the son's hair looked like a toupee impersonation of Eric Roberts' hair?
Well, maybe
how will we indicate that is father and son? Oh, he should have the same hair.
Oh, well, I also think, but what if it's a toupee because of the leukemia?
Exactly.
And also they put the black makeup around his eyes like, I'm sick.
Anyways,
hanging in there.
So he says, "Yes, thank you." Okay, you're back as Cornelius.
Right, yes. Cat, this is Jimmy Scalzetti, one of the best in his field.
Keep playing Cat too, Listman.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Well, then you must be very good because my husband's pretty stingy with praise.
Actually, I'm retired now.
Well, that's good news for both of us.
All right, that's probably where
God.
we can stop there because then it's
No, do the rest of the movie.
Rich Rajinsky walks over, chiming in.
He goes. Once a thief, always a thief. Yeah, Jimmy Skull was good, but not quite good enough. Morgan me dropped him at Joliet for his last stretch. When was that, Jimmy? 96?
That's throwback, Rich. The man says he's retired. He's retired.
What, are you lost, Jimmy? The Felons Jamboree is down at the Armory. Well, it was a pleasure to meet you, Mrs. Morgan.
Felons Jamboree.
So anyway, the key thing here is that great thing about Merry Christmas and Dean Cain going, ooh, not very PC, Scalzetti. By the way, love Scalzetti being the name of the bad guy in this too. And I love
so
on the
stupid.
IMDb you can see the DVD cover and it's like Dean Cain, Erica Laniak, and it says and Eric Roberts as Scalzetti. Yeah. I always love as because it's like if you do that in a Star Trek movie, right? I follow where it's like and DeForest Kelly as Bones or whatever, right? Because it's like, oh, that beloved character, but when it's as Scalzetti, who cares? Who's Scalzetti?
I mean, it could just be with this guy or featuring this guy, but as would imply that we're going to be excited by that actor being married to that character. We don't know who the fuck Scalzetti is.
The one I always think about, and I remember the character's name because it's credited, is Jaws 3D, and it's Anne Lou Gossett Jr. as Calvin Bouchard. And then throughout the whole movie, I don't know anyone else's name in that movie that I've seen like twice ever. But I know that because they also go, I'm Calvin Bouchard. Do you know that's Calvin Bouchard? You're talking about Calvin Bouchard.
Somebody was very proud of that name.
Yeah.
So,
it kind of is a great rich guy name in that movie because it's like, this here's my water park or whatever. Aquarium, not water park.
Wow.
Sure.
Anyway, so yeah, this is him also going like, yeah, I'm not in crime anymore. Instead, I'm in nothing because no one will hire me? That's weird.
Yeah, that is weird. I don't.
He's like, you try getting a job as an ex-con.
Anyway, come along, family, from this very expensive private school. And by the way, his wife is just a non-character.
Oh my God, like at the end when they come out, or sorry, I'm not going to the end yet, which I want to talk about a million hours for.
It's incredible.
But the wife, Scalzetti's wife, who's made up to look like a Gumar from The Sopranos.
Yeah.
She knows that her son is probably going to die because they don't have the money for this operation. And it is just bad silent movie acting. They gave her no lines. And she's just like going, I'm kind of crying. I'm kind of doing my head to the side. And you're like, is she going to say anything? Like, thank you, officer, for giving us your money?
Okay, I found her in the IMDb. I can't believe this character has a name, Jeanette Scalzetti. This is only one of 3 credits she has.
That makes sense.
She's just nothing. I mean, she's nothing in the movie.
No, it's true.
Yeah, it's insane, though, to me, where it's just like, well, what's her situation? What are her thoughts on any of this? Scalzetti went to prison, but apparently... What has he been living off of? What he managed to hide from the cops, and that's running out or something?
I guess
that sounds likely.
How long was he in prison?
Well, they talked about they put him away in 96, and it's now 2002, so not like super long.
How old is his son? Too like that's
12, maybe.
I want to know the timeline here. So this born, then he goes to prison. Then he comes back out.
Oh, no, listen, that way lies madness. I don't think.
They do talk about they put him in, but I'm saying, like, if he's this, like, oh my God, worst of the worst, and he only got, like, 5 years tops in prison?
Yeah.
Well, because little do we know, he rolled on a major crime boss. I don't know, that's
exactly.
the thing. Like, I can start inferring shit, but there's no, there's nothing in the movie. It's just, this movie is... It and clearly thinks its audience is just like cop, criminal, good guy, bad guy. Got it.
That's it. Yeah. That's it.
And again, it's a 7-year-old writing
Well, it goes back
That's
to
all
the
it is.
target audience of all these movies, right, Litzman? Problematic divorced dads.
Exactly.
That is
Yep.
every
Yes.
action shelf movie is aimed right at problematic divorced dads going, "You get him, Superman!"
This one is aimed at problematic Christian divorced dads.
Yeah. My pastor said this one's pretty good.
But I do love that, okay, they're in Die Hard, which is a near perfect movie.
It is.
Fucking love Die Hard.
It's a masterpiece, yeah.
But everyone is fleshed out. Everybody. Literally.
That's part of what's so great
and there's
about it.
personality amongst the heisters and all this kind of thing.
Yep.
But we see the rift between John and Holly.
Yes.
It's well done. It's regrettable. There's not hate involved, but
it
it's
feels
just sort of
real.
like we're
It
pulling
feels-
apart.
It feels like real tension between in a marriage, like it does.
And in this thing, the whole thing is they have a tiny spat, and then and that's what he has to make up for.
Well,
that's him buying flowers and going to the mall and doing all this stuff, and then
buying
then
flowers at the mall where she works, which
Yeah.
is just like the laziest. Like,
yeah, and then at
just
the
the
end,
laziest attempt.
Well, that's the problem
Yeah.
with the whole. One of the biggest problems with this script is the stakes are nothing. Like,
No.
Yeah.
where it is like I just kept going. Who cares if he takes this money? Like,
yeah,
Also, you know who took the money. Just let him take it. You also know where he's going with the money, to the hospital. You just send somebody to go pick him up. And actually, he'll probably go quietly if you just let the surgery happen.
yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
It is at every turn. It is Dean Cain who is causing trouble in this movie. My big
Yes.
theory for the film is Dean Cain is the villain of this movie.
Officer
villain,
Morgan
yes.
is a piece of shit.
Well, because we got to see Scalzetti get with his crew here and going, here's the plan, boys. And a question I never got the answer to is the one guy goes, I understand. Why don't we just rob the cash truck after it's out of the mall? And he's like, no.
That will ruin the premise of the movie.
And I don't. So the plan here. Okay, this is where we got to get into. This is something we frequently talk about on Action Shelf. We got to talk about the villain's plan. So what is the plan here? Should it go if Dean Cain were not to get involved and it were to go according to plan? Okay, they're going to steal the cash. They're just. I mean, they never plan to take hostages. That's a key difference with Die Hard as well. And I don't. This movie doesn't have to be Die Hard, obviously, but taking hostages is kind of a main motivating factor for Bruce Willis in that movie. And the fact that they also plan to murder the hostages raises stakes. Here, these guys are like, oh shit, I guess we got to take some hostages. Once again, not really creating much of a threat.
So their ultimate plan was to steal the big wheelie chest of money.
Yeah.
Take it down into the basement.
Yeah. Blow the floor open.
Yes. And then somehow, I don't know how they're going to, because they can't put it on one of their little go-karts.
How are they
going to
get all that cash out of that big metal crate onto their little go-karts is a great
I'm sorry guys. When the end of this movie turns into Space Mutiny, when you have Red Brown in a golf cart, basically, I'm just like, Jesus Christ.
I just thought there is nothing cool about seeing Dean Cain with his knees up and that little steering wheel going.
There is nothing cool about people in go-karts. There needs to be a moratorium on never use those as anything in an action movie.
The best thing is
that he turned around twice and you see him turning around in its entirety. It's slow, awkward, putting his leg out.
The best is
gripping cinema.
The best is at one point Dean Cain just picks the thing up and points it in another direction and then takes off in it. Also, the idea that they're even turning around in a chase is stupid because Eric Roberts keeps going, oh, wait, no, hold on, that's cut off.
No, hold on.
Let me see the map.
You took a left when you meant to take a right. It's my left, not your left.
Hold on here. They've actually blocked this part of the tunnel. So
we forgot about the maintenance. My bad. That's my bad. All right, well.
That happens multiple times, just going, Dear God. I mean,
well, it happened to Dean Cain, and then it happened to Eric.
Well,
Roberts.
it happens to
so they both got turned around separately.
The Dean Cain one is something though, because Kid Blast does bring the ceiling down in front of Dean Cain.
He does Kid Blast the ceiling down. Yeah.
Eric Roberts has just misread a map.
Yeah.
Hold on. Oh, Jesus. Oh, we were supposed to. Oh,
this is his big genius foolproof plan. This heist will go off without a hitch. Sorry,
he
turned into Tony
somehow
Curtis.
loads the money into a go-kart, and then drives it to a boat, and then takes the boat and gets away. That's
by
the
the
plan.
way. Well, they talk about. What are you talking about? That's not easier, but it's more clever.
I think it was they were meant. Obviously, he doesn't have the men anymore, but they were going to use 3 of the carts and divide the money up just for ease of transport.
I still think that's too much weight on those things.
Yeah, absolutely. And then they would meet at the base of those stairs to go up to the boat. They would have hauled the money up, put it on the boat, and escaped.
Yes,
perfect plan.
So that's the plan.
Yeah, and it's perfect.
It's not the worst plan we've seen, but it's not great. So anyway. Yeah, they go to let's see here. Dean Cain. Okay, so Dean Cain goes to the mall. Well, first off, they have Kid Blast and his brother. I think his brother's name is Rashid. Am I correct on that?
Sure.
Yeah, Rashid.
No. Rashid is one of the hostages. The one that goes, actually, I'm Muslim. And Eric Eleniak goes,
that's right. Well, which one is his brother then?
I don't know.
That made me laugh so hard.
Wayne? Is his brother Wayne?
They're just going around like telling their favorite.
All the stuff.
Actually, I'm a Muslim. ... Anyways, who's next? And just completely ignores him.
And of course, the best is Jack Wallace's Boozy Santa.
Yes.
And Jack Wallace, a character actor you've seen in a billion things.
My favorite was he had a fake beard over his real Santa, which was very good.
Yeah, that is great. R.I.P. to Jack Wallace.
Actually, when I was watching that, I was kind of blown away. I was like, that is a great concept, like a boozy, not nice mall Santa.
Almost.
Why hasn't anyone ever done something with that?
It's like he's not a good
if
Santa.
only there was a movie.
He's
it's like, no, he's not what you expect, which is a good Santa. So what would we do with that? I mean, I hate it when a movie this bad is giving me ideas for really much better things.
By the way, Bad Santa came out the next year. They probably saw this
Billy Bob
movie
Thornton
and thought,
saw this and was
that's a good idea.
I've got a great idea.
Yep.
And then even smarter, make a sequel to that Bad Santa that everybody loved.
Yes. Worse Santa.
Yeah, horrible. Yeah, even
worser.
Was it in my memory? It was called Badder Santa, but I don't think it is.
I think
I don't think so.
No, it is.
I think
it is. It's called
Badder.
Badder.
It is called Badder Santa.
It is called Badder Santa.
That's a badder title.
Yeah. So Dean Cain shows up with these flowers, and he's gonna. Listman, by the way, as we always do, we look for the parts we would be cast as. Indecisive jewelry customers, I think, who they would cast me as. The guy going, I don't know, the necklace or the ring.
See, the thing is that it's Christmas Eve, and she just wants to get home. The mall is closing, but she's got this customer who just can't make up his mind.
And that is just there because the movie can't afford to have a lot of hostages. So I like the idea that it has to be like, well, almost everyone's gone home, but they have to create excuses. So Eric Eleniak is there, presumably after every employee in every other store has left.
Yes, it seems like it. Yeah.
The security guard, I think, is Rashid. So
yes, and they share a look of like,
yeah, oh well. And so that guy leaves, but the mom and the little girl are still there because she's throwing a fit about.
She's got to see Santa, and the comedy bit of she asked Santa for a billion things.
And that's actually, again, really good. But
also, you gotta love Santa immediately as soon as like it's quitting time. Off comes the beard, out comes the flask. At least get to the break room before you're taking a swig.
Yeah, the fact that he's doing it out in public is
also
pretty funny.
What kid's going to see Santa on Christmas Eve?
Yeah.
Last minute kid.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah.
But I mean, as they will say later, wouldn't the assumption by a kid be, well, he's got to get going to deliver the toys?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
They do use that later to try to calm her. I do like, strangely, how is it? It's not Rashid, but who is it down in amongst the hostages? Is like, do you think it's appropriate to lie to this kid?
Oh, it's the
mother.
It's the mother who goes, I don't lie, because Erica Laniak's going, don't worry, Santa's got to do this, so we're gonna get out of here. And the mother goes, I don't lie to my daughter. I just want her to turn and go, we're all gonna die, honey.
But the weird thing is that this movie is on Erica Laniak's side about.
Oh yeah.
No. We're shaming this woman for being honest with her child.
Yep.
We should instead.
What a bitch, right?
It's another war on Christmas thing where it's like, no. Lie to your children because they need the magic.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They need the magical thinking.
Well,
and then you've got Boozy Santa. That's his character turn away. He's like going, it is true. I really do need to get going. I have so many gifts to give out.
This guy has an arc over like 2 scenes where he's like, I guess I'm not drunk anymore, and I am gonna try to make this girl believe.
Yeah, he
in Santa.
sobers up real quick, I guess, when he's thrown into a whatever that thing is.
He does have
storage room.
He does have one of my favorite one-liners, which is coming up.
I was just about to ask.
Yeah, I do have it when they get taken hostage. And she's like, Santa, do something. And Santa, he goes, Santa, don't get paid to play gladiator.
Yeah. The reason I love that line, I know, that's why I love that line. When that happened, I was like, that means nothing. And the writer is sitting there slapping himself on the back going, perfect. That's what a boozy, bad Santa would say.
Hey.
Santa don't get paid to play no gladiator. What?
Well, okay.
What?
Eric Roberts is also Eric Roberts. Like, how much is time that you can't wait till literally the mall is completely empty? If he had waited like 5 more minutes, Dean Cain and Erica Laniak would have cleared out.
Yep.
Yeah, he wasn't being subtle. They were all walking together towards the back area of the mall.
Yeah.
It's like, there's still people here. There's still mall.
Yeah.
Dean Cain just got his flowers
well,
and he's running to see
is,
his wife.
and the only reason he stops is because he sees Eric Roberts and goes, oh, shit, it's about to go down.
So it is implied, because the mall is closing, that Dean Cain literally waited till the last moment to buy flowers.
He waited.
He could not have waited long.
That means he sat at home for the vast majority of her shift going, fucking god damn it. I'm so
like,
pissed
I will
at my
show
wife.
up right at the end of her day to brighten her life with these flowers.
And
say, I'm sorry that we had a tiff.
And also brighten her day with the love of Jesus, of course.
Yeah. That's always there.
Brendan, I'm glad you're here, but I'm a little bummed our resident Christian movie expert Devin Roberts isn't here for this episode. Because
he'll be
coming. Oh, don't worry, he'll be here this month for one of our Christmas movies.
I would say that's a scary thing to be an expert in, but God bless, literally, God bless.
Well, yeah, but he we've talked about it. We usually bring him in for the faith-based action movies.
Yeah, all the Left Behind series. I know you've covered the whole series.
Well, actually, there's some of that kind of stuff that I still want to do that Christian Mad Max trilogy with him. Yeah. Anyway, but Eric Roberts gets a one-liner here when they pull shotguns on the security here, because the guy goes for his gun and Eric Roberts says, "The money's insured. Are you?"
Nice.
That's pretty good, actually. I thought that was
pretty good.
The thing is that, as I've said before, Eric Roberts often is known for not Nicolas Cage levels, but he can go big. He can be a ham.
Oh, sure.
And the thing I liked about it is here he's like going, no, I'm going to be a very urbane. Well, he's nice. He's generally nice and well-spoken. And calm. He's calm.
He is sort of doing a little bit of Hans Gruber, right? Where it's just like, this is my job. I don't have to be an asshole about it. I'm a pro, and I'm not gonna get too worked up. Now it's nowhere near the masterpiece performance of still maybe in my opinion, maybe cinema's greatest villain, at least as a one-off in terms of not
he's amazing.
Hans Gruber is an incredible character. And the thing that when you talk about making him sympathetic, listen, one of the things that's great about Hans Gruber is he's not sympathetic. He's just totally professional. This is I mean, the best Hans Gruber line in that movie is when she goes, "You're just a common thief," and he's like, "I am an exceptional thief."
Yeah.
And it's just like, I'm going to pull off this great heist. This guy, well, like I said, the script goes back and forth between, well, he's doing it because his kid is dying, but also he is kind of a legit piece of shit too, though. And it's sort of like,
he
I don't
is
know how I'm
fully ready to murder like innocent people.
Kind of, but then he never actually does, though.
No.
And so I don't. That's the thing where it's like, what am I supposed to think about him? Do I think he'll actually blow Erika Laniak's brains out? I don't think he will. That was actually a thing they talked about in Die Hard. And hey, everybody, make sure you're one of our patrons because Lisman and I are doing a Die Hard commentary this month over there.
Oh, nice.
But they added somewhat late in the game the scene where he shoots Mr. Takagi because they needed to show this guy is cold-blooded enough to just ice somebody.
Yeah.
And that was sort of a late in the game going like, I don't know. They're going, this guy is kind of just precise, but are people really going to be scared of him? And that was the scene and that's a great decision.
It's a great decision. That's a brutal scene.
Yeah, man.
Speaking of great decision, should we talk about the biker gang getting blown up?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, that's key to the whole plan too.
I know we skipped over it, but I really want to talk about Lucifer's henchman.
Yeah, that's the
Holy
biker gang we're talking about.
Lucifer's henchman.
Because
this movie, I was just going, really, guys, really? Brendan don't get paid to play no gladiators. All I'm saying.
It reminds me of the Simpsons episode.
Where
Homer starts the biker gang, and they're called the Hell's Satans. That's one of my. That's you know, Lisman, you know me, how much I quote that Moe line. Where Flanders is part of that, and he goes, I move we change the name to something less blasphemous. And Moe goes, what do you mean, like the Christ punches? And it is one of my favorite lines ever in The Simpsons. The totally sincere reading of that from Hank Azaria is so funny. What do you mean, like the Christ punches? I mean, these guys might as well have been called the Christ punchers. But yes, part of the plan, I'm glad you mentioned this, Lisman, because a big part of the plan is we're going to blow up a biker bar, and that will distract, by the way, the entirety of the Chicago police force.
Yes.
I will say that something as big as the blowing up of a building will bring down precinct upon precinct. I don't know if a city as big as Chicago would empty out everybody to attend, but that would be a big thing.
It would be. And I mean, and I will say, credit where credit's due on this movie. It's a hell of an explosion when this building goes up.
That's true.
It blows up real good.
It really does. And you see,
it also shows a three-legged cat running away from the building, which to me was implying that the cat blew up.
Well, I actually, when that happened, I was like going, had they trained a three-legged cat to drop a bomb in there?
I really
if the camera
had
zoomed in on the cat looking shifty, like, there it goes. I think there is during the explosion or after it. I think there is a distinct meow in there too. I think they put in a sound for the cat as well.
Oh my god,
which is pretty
you
funny.
See the cat, and then like a paw comes up with like a detonator.
It's one of those big like button things you put on the floor, and you see the paw just go bat.
Yeah, it's the plunger thing.
It says boom, or I guess it would say flame on because it's this movie.
Yeah, because it's Kid Blast, baby. And Lisman, you and I were talking about this before we started recording. That they keep talking about keep your psycho brother in check. Kid Blast never feels enough like a psycho to me.
No, I would say the big guy is more psycho.
Oh, the Russian guy? Oh, the Russian guy.
What the accent was supposed to be? Is it supposed to be Russian?
I think the character is just supposed to be a mercenary, but the mercenary had done some community theater and had just been in a production of Fiddler on the Roof. So I think there was a lot of that.
Man, Yeah,
Either that or Uncle Vanya, one of those two.
He had been doing some Uncle Vanya, exactly.
Yeah, he's been doing some Chekhov. Yeah,
and he came to play as far as I kept waiting in a movie this dumb, and a movie that is like saying, okay, it's Christmas time. You're always expecting, where are all the Christmas jokes? They gave them all to this guy.
Brendan.
This guy does all of them.
This guy has gone on to have a legit career. He looked familiar to me. He's the fucking main Russian tracksuit mafia guy in Hawkeye. He's Ivan, the guy that keeps running into Kate and talking about his relationship and stuff.
Then he got a lot better at the Russian.
That's this guy.
20 years ago, he is not good.
He's great in Hawkeye, though. He's so funny.
No, he is great in Hawkeye.
That's
I can't believe it's the same guy.
No, but I mean, like, you look at his career, he goes on to do, he's on that Jason Momoa Apple show. He's in he's in a couple episodes of Arrow. He's in War for the Planet of the Apes. He's like a working real deal actor.
Well, he's terrible in this, so I'm glad that he stuck with it.
This is crazy. Yeah. Listman, he's also in Vendetta, the other Dean Cain movie we've done. I think
what's this guy's name?
The guy's name is Alex Panovich.
Panovich. Okay.
Is the actor?
Might he actually be Russian?
No, he's Croatian.
Yeah, Alex Panovich. And he plays Petrovich. Yeah, he's Canadian, but for a Croatian mother, Serbian father.
Okay. He probably grew up with accents in the house. And whatever. But.
He's also a Canadian champion boxer. So,
but they give him the stuff that's all like I was a good boy this year. I got a gun for Christmas. This is on the wish list for Santa. You've been very naughty. He gets all of them.
Here's the one I wrote down.
What I didn't understand is why is Dean Cain not dressed as Santa? Because that would make these one-liners make sense. Well, no, like he got fired from the police force, so he has to be a mall. Just to like,
that actually would make more sense. Here's the Dean Cain's not putting on that fucking Santa suit, is why. He's not Burt Reynolds. Lest we return to last holiday season when we saw Burt Reynolds in Rent-A-Cop in a Santa suit.
Yeah, classic.
But
maybe Jesus, like jacked Jesus.
Yeah, Jesus, baby. I'm gonna forgive you your sins.
He's looking at the guys with the hammer and the nails. He's like going, "Do it, I dare you."
You even try to get through the muscles on this hand, baby. I can't. He's too jacked. I also.
We're gonna need a bigger mallet.
I do like the idea that our Roman soldiers are like from the Bronx. Yo, Jesus, I can't crucify this guy. No, his line here is, I don't really want to shoot you, but I just asked Santa for a cart full of money.
Yep.
Yeah, because Dean Cain, here's the thing where, once again, these guys aren't going to hurt anybody. They're just going to take this money. But Dean Cain climbs down an elevator shaft. A little Die Hard, anybody? Although it's, of course, because it's this movie, it's like 2 floors of elevator shaft. It's not the major building that is Die Hard.
And he takes his time climbing down.
Careful.
Like, he is.
Careful now.
Hold on.
I mean, Dean Cain's in great shape, so I'm sure he can climb this chain or rope or whatever. But he is doing it very like Yeah, there's nothing wrong with Dean Cain as action hero. It's just this character is awful.
Yes.
But yeah, his big thing is he just grabs this cart of money when nobody's looking, and he's gonna go hide it somewhere, and that
hides it in a bathroom stall.
That becomes the whole thrust of the movie is them going, "Where's that money?" And he's like, "I won't tell you." And then and once again, terrible police work. Why he doesn't just immediately go, let me get on a phone and go, there's a robbery going down. Somebody should do something about that. And then just leave. It's not on
follow
you.
them.
Or follow them. But the idea that he's like, ha, now I got your money. And then Eric Roberts is like, well, shit, now I got to kill people.
Yeah.
You caused this, Dean Cain.
Yeah, maybe let hostage negotiators work shit out instead of
here's the thing too: is I don't know where this mall is located, but it's the biggest mall in Chicago. You tell me this is not in. I know it's Christmas Eve and there's not a lot of people around, but when they are laying waste with these massive shotguns and machine guns, and then throwing grenades around, no one's hearing this. No one is hearing this.
There's a part where Kid Blast and his older brother, Big Blast, I think is his
name. Well, that's not what it is, but it is now. Kid Blast
they
and Big
think
Blast.
Dean Cain is in a bathroom. And so they each throw grenades in. And then also on top of that, unload their clips.
Yeah.
Like a fully automatic weapon.
Obliterate this bathroom.
It's crazy. It's a crazy amount. This movie might have the most rounds fired.
Oh yeah,
in an action shelf movie.
It's clearly trying to make up for the fact that most of these impacts are completely bloodless, and it's just people going, doing the puppet dance of getting.
And it's not even that. Most of the time, it's just hitting the walls around people. Even
that's true, but it's just sort of like we're going to make it as we're going to be as rough on these walls and windows. Because we can't show people's heads turning into pink pulp.
I do also think perhaps most rounds fired, definitely most glass broken in anything we've watched this year. No question about that. But also this guy Petrovich, he's got a fucking automatic shotgun. That is a nightmare of a weapon. That thing is just and they do. I mean, it's the sound of it where it's like boom, boom, boom. I mean, that is. But an automatic shotgun is like when that shows up in the Expendables, the movie is actually portrayed like, oh shit, that is just an ugly ass weapon, and he's just shooting at Dean Cain, and Dean Cain's going ha ha and dodging it like the amount of
that's possible.
The amount of times
in slow motion, John,
that people just hide behind a metal railing and bullets bounce off it, and you're like, no,
nope.
There's no way that it's just that little metal railing is doing anything. So he's running around the mall, shooting things and people and stuff.
Shooting things and people and stuff. Yeah, that's pretty much the movie.
Yep.
This is the stupidest one-liner. When they each have so finally you get Dean Cain and the Russian guy. They both have guns on each other. And Dean Cain goes, "Merry Christmas." And the Russian guy goes, "I am actually Kwanzaa man myself."
Yeah. Yeah, that's a great one. That was a great one.
What is that?
What?
And then
Why Kwanzaa?
He tosses Dean Cain over the railing from the upper floor of the mall. And what does he catch on to?
An angel.
Yeah, it's an angel decoration that saves Dean
hanging
Cain.
on wires, and he catches it on his way down.
Pretty sure Dean Cain had nothing to do with that stunt. But,
sorry, someone in Dean Cain's costume falls over the rail.
I will say this, as far as thinking through Die Hard in a mall, all that makes sense. John, I always embarrass you when I bring up my fan fiction stuff. But
no, I don't. I just there was one that was a big jump from like that was I can't remember what it was, but it was something.
It was like people wanting me to write more of a character because they liked my fan fiction, and me going, no, that was my one idea for that character.
Yeah, but the jump was from like Citizen Kane to your fan. It was some wild thing where you're going like, oh, that's not comparable, but it was.
I think it was like Kubrick or something, but yes.
That was it. It was me saying Kubrick only made one horror movie, and people wanted him to make more, and you're going like me with my fan fiction, and it was just
I know.
It was the jump that was funny. Anyway, yes, you're fan. Oh, you did write some Die Hard fan fiction, didn't you?
I did a Die Hard Home Alone crossover,
hell yeah,
which called Die Alone, which had an ailing John McClane take over Marshall Fields in Chicago at Christmas just so he could be close to his daughter who had kind of disinherited him. So he becomes the terrorist, and young police officer Kevin McAllister is trapped in there with him and saves the day. But anyway, John McClane, not terrible villain, but he's sick and dying, but he's still, it's one guy good with traps versus another guy good with improvisational traps. That was kind of the whole thing. And I did study floor plans of Marshall Fields and all this stuff. And yes, there is a scene where one of them goes over the railings and does kind of do the same thing with the Christmas tree all the way down, and then land in these big display presents that act as a cushion, which is what saves them. And I was like watching this movie going, yeah, I feel really good about my work.
Well, because he falls on the angel catches him, then the line snaps,
but then he falls slams
into
right
the
into
Christmas
the
tree. Yeah.
And he gets a comedy beat where he's like, ow, and then slides down the tree.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. This
I was laughing.
Reminded me of high school, actually.
Oh, yeah, man. When Listman and I, that was our senior year, right?
I believe so.
So
did you guys get up to some teenage mischief? Is that what I'm
We were very tangentially related to this. Extremely tangentially related to this, I would say. So every year, our high school, and I never thought about this until I think it was your girlfriend Maggie that pointed out, right?
Mm-hmm.
That our high school was built like a mall.
Yes, it looked like a mall.
It looks like a mall where it had the 2 levels and then big open area in the middle with the, right? And so every year they would put a big Christmas tree in the middle of the school.
Wow.
And
that is not a separation of church and state.
Well, and that actually was kind of like a thing, right? We couldn't call it a Christmas tree. Remember that was the thing? It was like a holiday bush or something like that. Anyway, it was this huge Christmas tree. And folks, you can go on YouTube. It's still there.
Still there.
I'm going to call him acquaintance. He wasn't really friend of friend, maybe. Like we were friends with somebody who was friends with this guy.
You're distancing yourself now.
Well, no, but he let's say he was the kid who would do what I'm about to describe. He was that kid where where it's like, hey man, $50 to do this or whatever. Oh yeah, like that kind of guy. He got up on the upper level and he dove down onto the Christmas tree and took the whole thing down.
He did jump down onto the tree, and knocked it over, and we filmed it.
Yeah,
from several angles.
Now where you're at tangentially related to us. We didn't do it. Yes. We didn't set it up. We did know the people who did, and they told us when it was going to happen. And I did bring my camera, so one of the angles in the YouTube video is me operating a camera on it. And he did. He had a Santa hat and a beard. And he took this thing down. And do you remember this is just stories, but the funniest thing was the reaction of the school. Because they tried to expel him from school for it.
Yes.
Which the school board did not uphold. He got suspended, but they did not uphold him literally being thrown out of school.
Wow.
Because come on. But I just remember it was like the student body president came on over the PA system going like, a student today made a shocking decision, and it was treated like it was a terrorist attack. Basically, it was our school.
Wow!
Going like,
wow!
I can't, Oh my God! Why would anyone do this? And no one was hurt or anything. It was totally stupid.
No,
but if you
he was fine. Yeah.
If you go and type in high school Christmas tree jump, you'll find it.
Yeah, and it kind of made its rounds on the internet.
It got some play
when that was the thing.
And this was early YouTube days, so it got around.
It got around, yeah. But, that's what this reminded me.
Yeah, it does have that. So anyway, there's a little anecdote from our life, but yeah. We were once again very tangentially involved.
Very loosely.
Less shotguns and so this it wasn't quite like watching this film.
And I do remember his plan was he was going to ride the Christmas tree down, and he had his car parked out in the back, and he was going to take off. The only problem is the weight pulled him the other way, and the tree came down on him, so they got him.
Wow.
Yeah, they did. Yeah. They did get him.
They got him. That was also
they got him. The nightmare is over.
They didn't expel that kid, but do you remember that our last quarter in high school, all of his teachers agreed, we will freeze his grades where they are. He can graduate. We just don't want him to come in anymore.
Wow.
Yes, because our school was very proud of their graduation rate. They didn't want to affect that. So they're just like, we'll just freeze his grades and
we also had some other friends who got talked into dropping out by the administration so that the graduation because they weren't gonna graduate, they were gonna flunk, and so they would go, why not just leave? Why not just drop out?
Wow.
So
rich suburban white communities.
It was it made me not really regret the whole Christmas tree incident.
Oh, that was so dumb.
John and I were loosely.
We were never the kind of guys who would start. So we were the kind of guys who would get on board with something like that, but we were never people who would start something like that.
Did I know it was going to happen before it happened? Yes.
Yeah. We were friends of troublemakers who egged people on.
Yes.
I'm just saying, guys, because this has been a 20-minute ride you took me on.
That's true.
You may want to edit it out, but not just for length. You may want to edit it out because I don't think there's a statute of limitations. So you may not want this getting out there.
We got him. I just want the idea of our hometown police and they're listening to the show going, "We got him. We got it."
After all these
years. Get the president on the line.
I do love the idea of an Action Shelf episode being played back in court. So I'm sorry. This is excerpts from a podcast devoted to dumb straight-to-video action movies, and here are the hosts admitting to their Anyway,
we would insist on playing the whole episode.
Yeah. You're gonna need to hear the whole thing.
Yeah, for context.
Yeah, it's like, well, I don't know if they commit any crimes, but they're pretty rough on Dean Cain.
I kind of like Dean Cain.
So, okay, here's the part. So I guess this is to explain why the truck isn't going anywhere. They call the armored car dispatch going, "Yeah, the truck broke down."
Yeah.
And that should buy him an hour.
We only had the one in all of Chicago.
It's also a weird scene because the member of the gang who's in charge of this, his entire purpose in this heist is to dress in the guy's costume
and
uniform, sit in the truck. He's just supposed to sit in the truck and then pretend he's the guy. And then the lady dispatcher is flirty.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Oh, am I supposed to flirt back?"
Yeah.
She's like going, "Oh, hey, honey, where are you?" He's like, "Well, darling, I'm stuck here." And we'll send some for you right away or whatever.
Now, look, I don't know how armored trucks do things, but it does seem like, are they making cash pickups in the evening on Christmas Eve? That seems weird.
They actually are.
Seems weird.
Are they?
They actually are.
I don't know. Well, maybe less so now, once again, in a less cash world.
Probably not as much, but yeah, there are plenty of jobs where you're going to be working.
Oh no, yeah, I know, but I'm just saying, Christmas Eve. I'm not talking about but just the idea of scheduling that is so weird to me that there would, and also the idea that the mall would hold their money till Christmas Eve, so there's $12 million in cash at a mall.
Yes,
that's wild to me. Anyway, okay, we got to talk about the department store shootout. Because this is pretty wild stuff.
It's wild, wacky stuff.
When this guy is chasing him and Dean Cain foils him by pouring shampoo on the ground. Talk about Home Alone. So the guy slips.
So stupid. And as this guy is sliding, why did he start shooting both of his pistols?
I know.
Because he didn't see Dean Cain. He was just doing it because he was sliding across.
Everyone in this movie is so trigger happy.
He has a weird, it's like a built-in reflex. It's sort of, he starts to slide. He's like, "No, bang, 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 bang. Take that, gravity. Bang, 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 bang."
Yeah, he's hoping the force of the guns will push him back the other direction. Is what he's actually trying to do. So yeah, you get that, and then of course, because he's in the sporting goods store, Dean Cain starts shooting hockey pucks at him.
So stupid. It's so stupid.
And then it's not a one-liner, but Dean Cain's just like, "Funny thing, I never even played hockey." Why would you put that line in there? That's a horrible line.
I don't know.
Before finally he gets to the guns in the sporting goods store, but he ends up killing this guy with a bow and arrow.
Yeah.
He does do
Pretty
that.
Cool.
That's true.
Pretty cool. Because you get the scene where there's a mirror, there's a mannequin, and the guy keeps going, "He's not there, not there," and then suddenly there's Dean Cain with the bow and arrow and shoots him shoots him right through the heart. So this guy's dead.
Does do that. That's true. So there's a couple of things I want to bring up. I don't want
I'm ready
to skip over it. Did you guys notice how Eric Roberts cell phones in this movie?
He does what with the cell phones?
He does the
way he holds it. He holds it by the antenna.
Yeah.
For some reason, like the thing sticking out of the top, and then it's
a flip phone, and he's doing this weird. Yeah, he does hold it strange.
like almost like like he has a claw or something.
Well, it was something I
Very-
thought about with this being a 2002 movie. Is like there are some cell phones in it, but it actually is still like not. Dean Cain doesn't have one, and he still has to like find one because actually after he kills this guy with the arrow, he calls his partner and tells him
what's his ringtone. Isn't it another like
it is another
Carol?
Christmas song.
Yeah, I can't remember which one it is, but it is like a and it's that 2002 like do 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 like it's not Jingle Bells, but it's got the the thing about that.
Do, 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 do. It's like, okay, great, yeah. Hello,
yeah. Do we get that as a Christmas movie, folks? And he calls his partner, and the guy's like, "Oh yeah, we're gonna be right on, and I'm bringing the whole cavalry with me." And then Dean Cain hangs up and gives this one-liner: "There is a Santa Claus." And then he goes over, and this is where Dean Cain gets guns from the gun rack at the sporting goods store. But here we get this is only a light episode of John's Gun Corner. I don't think this sporting goods store, they might have some rifles and shotguns. They've got like a folding stock combat shotgun in here. I
probably not.
Doubt that very much.
Yeah.
That like a mall, maybe like a specialty gun shop might have something like that. But a mall sporting goods store has got like armor piercing rounds and stuff.
It has a very. I mean, I don't know the guns, but I was like, wow, that's an entire wall.
Yeah.
And it's like, a mall sporting goods store might have a couple of, target rifles or something like that, but this is a full wall that he breaks through the glass. He's like,
like the gun shop
like it's Christmas. I got all the guns in the world.
Mm-hmm. And so, let's get to the scene with Kid Blast and Big Blast, as you talked about, when they think Dean Cain's in the bathroom. And I don't remember which one says this, but the line is, if he's in the toilet, he's about to get flushed.
Yeah.
I think that's Big Blast who says that.
Big Blast. And then, they both throw grenades in. This place goes up. And then I do love the idea of blowing up the entire bathroom and then going, let's just make sure and just empty our magazines into this thing, man.
Yeah.
And once again, no care that anyone might hear this.
Which everybody would.
Yeah.
Like, it's not.
The mall
you'd hear it for miles.
This mall's not out in the desert. Remember that was the thing in that Antonio Banderas movie was the mall was. No. Now I remember. The mall was in the crime-ridden part of town that the police won't even go to in that movie.
Wow.
That's what it was.
That was the thing about that. They did write in a thing about why the cops wouldn't respond where they're like, there's gunshots every night, man.
Yeah.
I mean, bad and lazy writing, but it's something.
There's an explanation as to why people are.
But we've got more trouble
noticing.
I think the reason in this movie that they don't elaborate on it too much, but I think the reason that the Chicago PD is not on the scene is that it's quite a drive from Chicago to Manitoba. So I think that it was just them going like, look, we're on our way, but we'll be there in a few days.
If only Dean Cain had called the Manitoba police, then they might have had
a
shot.
They would have been there.
I did also think he calls his partner, spoiler, the partner's crooked. But then I did think he doesn't know any other cops.
No.
Like once the partner's revealed himself to be crooked, it's not like, well, okay, then I'll call the Sarge or something.
Well, but once the partner's revealed to be crooked, that's pretty much the start of the non-stop thrilling adventure. There's not a time for him to make another call.
He does. Actually, there is, because he does eventually call 911, which is why the SWAT team shows up.
Right, but it's bad reception. They're all underground in the parking structures and so forth.
They obviously, but we've got more trouble right now in the mall because this little girl has to, as she says, go pee pee.
Okay, yeah. So the Erica Laniak, who we haven't talked about too much,
because she does nothing in the movie. Really.
She does again, borderline competent. Like that's probably the best acting I've ever seen from Erica Laniak, and I'm not saying that. I've seen a lot of Erica Laniak.
She's not a terrible actress. I mean, she's not a good actress, but especially for what's asked of her here, yeah, fine.
But we haven't laid it out too much. It's she and Rashid, the security guard.
Oh my God,
drunk Santa, the mother, and the little like 7 or 8 year old girl. And there's one other guy. What that guy who's like.
He's the
talking
guy,
about his favorite Christmas.
He's the guy who owns the mall, or he's the manager of the mall.
Sure.
Because he was there to supervise the money transfer.
Right.
No, he owns the mall because there's a cardboard cutout of him later, too, in it. Where he's like, season's greetings from us at the mall.
Well, there's also a cardboard cutout of Dick Butkus. That
was weird, too. I guess maybe it's not a cardboard cutout of this guy. There's like a photo of him. But there is a Dick, which I thought was strange. Two things
Dick Butkus in a Santa outfit, and I'm like, what am I looking at? Why is this here?
two strange beats in the movie are the Dick Butkus cardboard cutout, and then the clip of Desperado.
Yeah.
Yes, I did think that was weird.
That the clip he turns on is from like a recognizable big studio movie. How'd they clear that?
Well,
it was very brief.
It was very brief, but I also think Desperado was only distributed by a big studio. I have a feeling that movie is not public domain, but I have a feeling that movie
is maybe not for cheap. Yeah, you could get some clips from it at least.
Yeah, because a studio didn't make it. That was well, no, Desperado.
Desperado is the studio remake of El Mariachi.
Right.
So
that's right. I was thinking of El
like
Mariachi. So ignore everything I just said because Desperado is definitely
Desperado. Yeah, that's right, Lisman. That means this is another mall Die Hard movie with Antonio Banderas in it.
Yeah, it's true. It's true.
But I did see when the credits are rolling, it does go like clip from Desperado, courtesy of Sony or whatever. I don't know, man.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe there was some shared thing somewhere in the hierarchy of companies that own other companies. There's some connection to Sony who made Desperado. Anyway, yeah, she's got to go pee. But yeah, they're all sharing their favorite Christmas memories. And I do like when they get to Rashid, he goes, well, I'm Muslim. And they're like, well, how about you then? I just love, then forget about you, basically, was the thing. It's not like, well, how about your best family memory or something? No, it's just like, Muslim, don't know what to do with that. On to you.
You have holidays too, I think.
Yeah.
Have you had a good holiday you'd like to tell us about?
A very sorrowful Ramadan.
Incredibly
another great Simpsons line where Krusty's doing the Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Crazy Kwanzaa, and a very sorrowful Ramadan. Great stuff, man. Just go watch The Simpsons. Don't watch this.
Do not watch this.
Yeah, and so Dean Cain's like, Eric Roberts comes in, and this is kind of pulled from Die Hard slightly, except much worse, of course, is the idea that in that movie you've got Bunny Bedelia going like, hey, Hans Gruber, we've got people out here who need to go to the bathroom. We've got a pregnant woman. Like, she's negotiating for the hostages. Except the weird thing here is she knows this guy.
Yes.
Hi, Jimmy. Excuse me, Jimmy. Our sons are, we kind of know each other. Do you think we could do something about that? Because we also there's a running.
But he sees that as his, that's also like, wow, I got lucky because I can use you.
Yeah, because he does go like, hey man, you gonna give us that money because I got your wife. That's not at all an Eric Roberts.
Yeah, well, they just want to fully steal that scene from Die Hard. So,
or should I say, Officer John McClane of the New York Police Department?
Right, but they want to remove all the tension. That's
well, like I said,
that's not really their thing.
It does damage when they all know each other. It kind of lessens a lot of this, where it's like, we also get a lot of the thing they try to do with that then is give Erica Laniak something to do, where she just keeps going, "Why are you doing this, Jimmy? You're a good guy. Why are you doing this?" And him having to be like, "My son's dying." And he's just gone. And once again now, but with that, they've made him too sympathetic now, where I'm going like, I hope the son does get the surgery. I hope he does get away with the money.
Because you know what? You're not a monster.
I thought for sure this movie was going to end with Dean Cain having his gun on him and him letting him go. I really thought that's what they were going to do because he gets it. or he was going to let him use the money but still arrest him or something like that.
He's a law and order man.
No, that's the thing.
Can't be a crooked cop.
It is that conservative thing where it's like, it don't matter. No extenuating circumstances. These are the laws.
Yeah.
And you're just going like, but once again, I guess maybe just me being my, left coast liberal is I'm going, no, man, I don't like this cop.
Yeah. Well, they don't really. I mean, this movie has a weird opinion of police. I mean, it's that like, oh, police can't do any wrong kind of a thing.
Well, it's like he is a hero because he's a cop.
By making him a police officer, already objectively, oh, well, then his
obviously
opinion is correct.
We're on the side of this guy. But then it brings back the point of, if that's the case, then why bother to make Eric Roberts sympathetic at all?
I don't know.
It's just so Dean Cain can. Oh my God!
This is a Christian movie. Everyone is redeemable. Don't you understand?
But then he's not redeemable. They blow this guy away at the end.
He almost gives up. He pretty much gives up, but the cops actually shoot him without. I mean, he lowers his gun and shit.
They shoot the cops at the end of this movie. Kill an unarmed Eric Roberts.
Yeah, so it's their fault, and you've got literally Dean Cain going, "Stop! No, don't do it!"
No, he didn't mean it.
Oh man!
Yeah, it is. They do actually go out of their way to make it not Dean Cain's fault that he dies, which is weird.
I think that must have been a note at some point.
Yeah,
Dean Cain can't just stand by and watch him. It's like, well, that's what it does. That's what it happens in the script. We'll just say he shouts, "Don't shoot them," after he's already been shot. So just
I do
make
like
him
hold your fire after they've put like 6 in him or something like that.
Exactly. Exactly.
He's dead, man. Can we talk about the way Big Blast dies with his own grenade?
I don't even remember how Big Blast dies.
Big Blast dies with his own, because he throws the grenade and Dean Cain shoots him. So then he drops the grenade in front of him. He's like, "Oh no," and explodes.
Yeah,
and then
remember that. Oh.
Dean Cain.
Well, you don't remember he does that take to the camera where he just puts his hands on his cheeks and goes, "Oh no." He goes,
I remember him calling it Kevin McAllister.
Wouldn't you know it?
Oh, ain't that just my luck?
It's blasted.
I hate Mondays.
Yeah. Because then after that happens, Dean Cain gets this one-liner.
Oh, well.
He's got to get on, because we're doing Die Hard, he's got to get on the walkie with Eric Roberts. And he goes, "You need to send your dogs back to obedience school." Yeah.
It's not cool
at all. He goes, "I still have 4 men." He goes, "No, you got like 2.
Yeah.
Because I just blew up a couple of them. Yeah.
Anyway, let's get through this here to the end of this movie.
He wins.
You get this scene that it goes on way too long. Where do they think this is tense when he's put Erica Laniak on one escalator and the money on the other?
It just keeps going. Why do they? I realize but why do they need to show her go down 3 levels and the cash going up 3 levels?
And what's great is
it takes like 15 minutes.
But what's great is the music keeps going.
Right, as if it's exciting.
By the way, the story.
Wait, you guys weren't on the edge of. Well, okay, I was asleep, but
you were on the edge of your seat because you had fallen asleep and slumped down to the edge of your seat.
Exactly.
It is just Dean Cain watching these escalators, and we didn't talk. The whole music in the movie is doing very cheap, like Jerry Bruckheimer-esque, Hans Zimmer-y,
Yeah.
But it's not terrible. We've seen much worse, or heard much worse. But it is just going like, man, you're trying to sound like The Rock or something like that, and you don't have a movie to back it up.
You know what I much rather would have watched?
Anything?
Well, there's that. I was going to say The Rock.
Yeah. The Rock.
Oh, yeah. That's
by the way, The Rock is kind of a Die Hard scenario movie, and it's fucking great.
It is.
Yeah.
And once again, go to our Patreon page because we already did a commentary for The Rock.
Snap.
Yeah, that's right, man. That's
Do you guys remember when Eric Roberts was geocaching?
No.
In this movie?
Yeah.
I don't remember what he was looking for. but he had like a.
Oh
like,
yes, that's right. And
Yeah.
he's like, 7 steps here, and then do a thing over here. I didn't know what that was about, to tell you the truth.
So
I don't remember why he was doing it.
This
I just
is-
wrote down
this is the part
Eric
of the movie.
Roberts geocaching.
So Eric Roberts gets the money. Dean Cain gets his wife back, and Eric Roberts is then
Yes.
obviously now that he has the money, his plan is just to leave, right?
Yep.
Yeah, exactly.
And this is what I don't understand is he's like, I'm so glad you're safe. I'm so glad we're alive, and whatever. And then she goes, but you can't let that money go, can you? And he's like, no, I can't, baby. I gotta stop this. I'm just going, what are you? I literally, I think I shouted at my screen last night. I'm like, do you want to die, Dean Cain? Is that the, like,
He can't be a crooked cop who stands by and lets the crooks
but
get
he's not
away.
even doing that.
He can't be like his dad.
He's already, at this point, he doesn't know the partner's crooked yet. So he already thinks the police are on their way. All he has to do is go, they're going that way.
Yep.
Leave it to the other, but it is just like, nope. And he loads up his shotgun, and he does give Erica Laniak a pistol, which is stupid later. And of course he does it's got one in the pipe.
Yeah.
Yeah, a saying that everyone says.
I'm sorry, I made him sound too grizzled. He's like, it's got one in the pipe.
That's exactly it. It's got one in the pipe, and that'll help you in case you come up against one person who stands directly in front of you. But but he also says well, I forgot what it was, but there was the whole thing with the cross, and I'm nearly forgetting this because at the end with the fucking go-kart race when they do Mario Kart in the sewers, and Eric Laniak's like going, he'll never be able to find me because Lord knows you'd never be able to find in a dark tunnel a fully lit up go-kart that's making a lot of noise.
Well, that's it.
So she drops the cross like, it's the breadcrumb. And Lord knows when they get to that shot where he finds it and it's full on got a glamour beam of light on it. Jesus himself has pointed his finger beam at it going, there's the cross.
All we needed was a floating Jesus appearing to Dean Cain going, they went that way.
I loved that.
That would have been amazing. No, so they free the hostages, but once again, Dean Cain's got to go down to the bottom basement level and go, I got to stop you, Eric Roberts. And then Eric Roberts even goes, look, my kid's dying. He goes, just let me have one of the sacks. I don't even need all this money. I just need the money for that. And he's like, no deal, criminal.
Yep. And he goes, all right, well, how about you say that I got away with 2 of them and you keep one of them? And he's like, that is the wrong play again.
That is my favorite Dean Cain moment because he's such an unhinged maniac when he goes, take the money like your father. And he pulls back the hammer on this gun like he's just going to execute Eric Roberts. You say that again. You don't say that again. You don't even talk about my father. Like, Jesus Christ, man. And I just thought, like, holy shit. Dean Cain, this is continuing to add to my narrative that he is just an unhinged maniac in this movie.
Oh, yeah. Also in life, I think. But
yeah, that's true. No, Dean Cain is one of those people who is an unhinged maniac, but like wears a suit and goes, look, I'm just saying women shouldn't kill babies. I'm reasonable. He's one of those people going, I'm calm and reasonable. I'm not a crazy person.
I'm not going to go out and blow up or at least you'll never prove that I blew up a clinic. But I'll tell you this.
One of the things I love is he shows up on Fox News a lot, and they always have him as the Hollywood representative. It's like, he is not Hollywood. It's
I'm sorry, was Kevin Sorbo busy?
No, that's always the thing. It's guys like him, Kevin Sorbo, John Schneider. My new favorite that I've recently discovered as a regular on Fox News is the oldest son from Home Improvement. And they're always talking about, well, here in liberal Hollywood, it's like, yeah, you guys are well out of the industry, man. Because even you've got conservative guys like Kelsey Grammer and Tim Allen, but they're not chancing their careers by appearing on Fox News. They're not that crazy. No. They're like those guys who go, we don't want to pay taxes, that's kind of thing. But they're not going, yeah, you got to stop these liberals, because they're like, we'd like to continue to be in things. So anyway, so that leads to, yes, the partner is gonna, not only is the partner crooked, he's just gonna straight up murder his best friend Dean Cain.
Yeah, he is. Even though he was the best man. You were the best man at my wedding. You're the godfather of my daughter.
Yeah, and then he goes, this isn't about that.
This
Don't bring
is
up that
about
stuff.
money.
Oh, low blow.
But money. Like that's the thing where it's just like, I get that this guy wants money, but they don't do anything to give this guy motivation why he would not only help steal this money, but he would kill his absolute best friend, basically brother, you know? Yep. And it's just like, what? Because that's what I'm saying. It should have been the partner who needs the surgery for the kid. That would have made so much more sense. Because that, but anyway,
this is a movie that don't waste your mental energy trying to fix. It is not worth even thinking about.
How about Erica Laniak?
It is so stupid.
Erica Laniak,
it would be an impossible feat.
Does shoot the partner here though?
Oh yeah, that's true.
So before he can shoot Dean
and
Cain.
saves her husband's life
right before,
like, you saved my life, honey.
And then she immediately drops the gun and is recaptured.
Yep.
Yes. Yeah.
And then
that's when they end up on the golf carts.
Yeah.
And
now we're going through the tunnels on that.
That's when she has to leave the cross behind and say,
we talked about all of that. And then, yes, it does eventually. The SWAT team has Eric Roberts surrounded. He drops his gun, but he goes to climb up the ladder up to the surface, and they just light his ass up, man.
They shoot him maybe 12 times.
Yeah. And the director's like, oh my God, I just need to show this. So it's slow-mo, and you see Eric Roberts looking up at the grate that would have taken him out.
He gets the one hand weakly on the grate, like it lifts up half an inch.
And then the camera moves us up and out so it can show that he was just feet away from that boat at the dock.
Yeah.
And also, it doesn't make any sense because that is a dock that is a walkout dock, meaning there is no sewer system or pipe that's directly under. No. This makes no sense.
There's river under it.
There's river under, but apparently, I don't know. Somehow he was that close.
Also,
to the
where
boat.
this is, the tunnel keeps going for Anyway.
Yep.
That's why the plane is so ingenious.
This is
nobody will see it coming.
He's actually going to come out of a pipe. Drown, and then the money will float up to the top. It wasn't a good plan, but it was something we never saw coming. It's true.
So this is really the only blood in the movie. Is Eric Roberts is pouring blood out of his mouth, and he's dying in Dean Cain's arm, and he goes, "Thou my son, I love him more than anything," and he dies. And it's supposed to just be like, damn, if only he hadn't have tried to steal money.
If only he loved Jesus more.
Well, I do think that then when it cuts...
If only he didn't make the mistake as opposed to Cain.
I started laughing because I couldn't believe where it was going when we cut to Dean Cain and Erica Laniak are at the hospital with his dying son. What does that mean? He walked in there and went, "Yeah, I just killed your dad. Sorry, Merry Christmas, kid."
I think so.
And
I think that was probably it. But hang in there, kid.
This doctor, though, going like, well, the good news is we found a donor for the bone marrow. The bad news, you absolutely cannot afford it.
Yep.
Don't know what to tell you, lady.
Deus Ex Machina, literally. But I want to take umbrage with one thing you said, John. You said that the only blood we saw was that.
Yeah.
Erica Laniak has a very artfully done little driblet of blood on her lower lip.
Yeah.
For most of the last half of the movie.
That's true. It speaks to, once again, though, that it's not too violent for the Christian audience. There's just a little, actually, it's even kind of the same thing with Eric Roberts. It's just blood coming out of the side of his mouth when he's dying here after being shot maybe 12 to 15 times. It's just a little bit of blood. He's not pouring blood everywhere. So and then so they're like, man, that kid's gonna die. That really is too bad. And then out of nowhere, this police captain just comes in, and he's like, "Oh, so glad we found you at the hospital." By the way, is this still Christmas Eve?
I think it is. Yes.
I'm sorry. Yeah. Internal Affairs is doing their investigation on Christmas Eve and going like,
also,
they just wrapped it up.
Did Eric Roberts set all this up thinking, we'll get away with our heist?
Yeah.
And I will get to the hospital.
Yeah.
and then just hand over stacks of literal cash to that won't be suspicious at all.
He's going to hand them a sack with $1.
He was going to hand them a sack with stacks of mall money.
Yeah,
still in the little bands.
Yeah,
little paper bands.
Here you go. Why does this say the Mall of Chicago or whatever?
Don't worry about it.
You got your money. That's what's important.
Just fix my boy.
I also just love the idea of a doctor going, yes, we have absolutely identified the life-saving thing. Too bad you don't have more money.
Yeah. What a shame. What a real shame.
Anyway,
I
guess
we'll just have to throw that marrow on the old dumpster.
Yep. Yeah,
so should I pull the plug now? Should I wait till Christmas Day?
Yeah. Do you want him to die on Christmas Eve or Christmas? Which one?
More traumatic for you because we'll do that for you.
Wait, do you want the whole holiday ruined or just like the lead up? No, I just love this is maybe the worst writing in the movie. Is this police captain coming in going, "Hey, great news. IAD has cleared you for everything. No fault at all." And once again, this is what, after a couple days deliberation, they figured this out.
And we do need to state once again, it's Christmas Eve.
Yeah.
So these police, I don't know, bureaucrat types. Where is he, Morgan? Oh, he was involved with that thing at the mall. Oh, he's at the hospital now.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll go there.
And Dean
what
Cain
time is it? Well, yeah, my kid was kind of hoping I would read Night Before for Christmas, but you know what? Let me go find Morgan at the hospital and bring him this check, which we cut this check.
This is
literally
we got to talk. It's the progression of this. You've been cleared of all charges. The shooting was unavoidable. 2, here's your badge back. 3, you're a captain now for no reason, because they talk about taking the captain's exam. He's just been given the captain's thing. And here, I did not understand where this check came from. They go, from the insurance company, a little thank you, I guess, for recovering the money.
He actually says it's a little attaboy.
Attaboy, that's what it is. But
I did like that. That's the one thing I did like. It's just a little attaboy from the. I was like, oh,
$200 grand.
Yep. And then he looks over at Eric Elaniak and he's like, oh, well, I guess because we love the Lord, let's just give it to this woman who hasn't said a word, and so she can pay for her son.
She appears to have no reaction to it either.
Oh, I know. The mom is just like, and Eric Elaniak's like, easy come, easy go.
The second
this can go the easy way or the hard way. And she goes, do you always say that? Do you always say that?
Yes, I do. Once again, I always want that turn for the scene to keep going for him to lose at the end. You realize what a psycho he is. Don't fucking question me. Don't you ever to honor and obey. That's right, lady. You're mine. Jesus. But
you're the bride of Christ.
You
and me.
Is it the Christmas dinner scene you wanted to talk about, Brendan? Because
I do.
This is insane.
Here's the thing. This is what I did expect. Of course, I expected a wrap up that's happy family at the Christmas table.
Yeah.
Well, actually, before we get there, there's the weirdness of, what was the whole thing about? I'm gonna make it up. Oh, that was early in the thing where the kids were staying with grandma because they had their tiff. Anyway, so now the family's back together, and it's one of those Norman Rockwell Christmas dinner scenes, except apparently it's happening during the apocalypse because literally, I believe an 80 megaton nuclear weapon has gone off outside. The amount of light. Burning light that's coming in through their windows. I was like going, this is like the end of Don't Look Up. This is where essentially the world has ended. It is unbelievable.
No other scene in the movie is lit remotely like this.
I kept expecting him to say, let's say a prayer, and then they would all like disintegrate into ash like at the, after Thanos snapped, because this is nuclear fire outside their window. I could not stop laughing.
It is
because they become charcoal outlines on the walls.
Yes, look at them. We can tell that they were having dinner when they died.
And then, then the insanity of him going, "Let me say a prayer for Jimmy Scalzetti." And the other and it's just basically like, let me say a prayer for all the people I killed in this movie.
Let me say a prayer for the I don't know, what is it, the guy's forehead that I nicked earlier in the movie? Ah, Jesus.
And he's just going like, and for all the others who won't be celebrating Christmas. Oh, we didn't talk about the fact that did Eric Roberts murders Kid Blast off screen? We didn't mention that earlier. Because he finds the cart and Kid Blast is just shot in the head.
Yeah.
Dean Cain. So I guess at some point,
yes.
for no reason, Eric Roberts, it's just like, oh, wait, we didn't kill this other bad guy. What if we just found him dead?
No, actually, wasn't it? Didn't Russian guy come back from the dead and have the cart? So I think maybe there had been
did Russian guy show up again? Man,
he did get up and then got the cart.
He does get up, yeah.
Oh my God, I forgot all about that.
He steals the money because Dean Cain goes back to the bathroom.
God, you're right. I forgot all
about that. The Russian guy
Yeah.
clearly is in the League of Assassins and had access to a Lazarus pit. That was the thing that they didn't include.
That he did a quick dip in during this heist. Yeah, there's a Lazarus pit.
I just had a dip in the Lazarus pit. I'm feeling much better now. Where is cart full of money?
Luckily, Ra's al Ghul had it on map right on the mall.
His daughter is one hot piece of booty.
Yeah, that's right. Oh no, she belongs to the detective, though.
The detective is what we're forced to call him.
Never get tired of Ra's al Ghul calling him detective. It's one of my favorite.
Me either.
Things. Anyway, so yeah, he's just like, and to Kid, I just want him to keep going, and to Kid Blast, and to whatever, and then the movie ends on Amen. The movie ends. The last line of the movie is Amen.
Yep.
Fuck.
Beautiful.
Yep.
Christmas Rush.
That's some good filmmaking.
It's a Christmas Rush. I wanted that 80s like action. I wanted like a Bob Seger song or something to start. Because it's coming on Christmas and it's gonna be fast.
Afford Bob Seger.
But something in that vein. Like I think about like how the
I'll be home for Christmas just as soon as I kill these thugs.
Well, that is the thing. Actually, I've always thought about why do they make so many cheap Christmas movies? Because all the songs are public domain.
They're not actually, as I've discovered.
Well, let's say there's a lot of the big ones are.
The religious ones, the carols are,
and that's why
but
all
if you
of
want
those
to
are
use
in
something
this movie.
like "I'll Be Home for Christmas" or "Silver Bells" or something like that, it's like, oh.
Let me say though, there's a lot in the public domain, is what I'm saying. You have a lot of choice of soundtrack. And
there wasn't a lot of Jingle Bells on the soundtrack. I thought that literally, because even Die Hard goes there during a lot of the action scenes, you'll still hear like a little like ching 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 little Jingle Bells. No, not here.
No. Anyway, that's Christmas Rush.
Right.
Not good.
No.
But some people maybe do think it's pretty good.
I can't imagine who. Talk to you guys later. Bye.
Here we go. Of course, it's always my mission to find the strangest IMDb reviews I can. This one comes from IMDb user Mahinda Radio, and the review is titled "Reviews Can Mislead."
Including mine.
Why do people buy a film or watch one? In 98% of cases, it's to watch a movie for entertainment, not to compare it with other movies or to write reviews or impress others as armchair reviewers. This film, taken independently, is both entertaining and exciting. Tight, slick editing, and plots and subplots keeps one guessing. Good entertainment, 10 out of 10 stars.
So many of these reviews are so defensive.
What is he getting at?
They're always so defensive.
I love the idea, too. It's like, you shouldn't compare it to other movies, because I'm sure other reviews were mentioning Die Hard or something. And this person's just going, but it's not Die Hard. You got to take it on its own merits. And if you do, it's still terrible.
You
got to take it on its own really shitty merits.
Tight, by the way, tight, slick editing?
Nope.
No.
Yeah,
no.
and
subplots
that keep you guessing. Fuck off. All right, well,
Fuck you.
It wouldn't be an Action Chef episode if we didn't check in with our favorite Amazon.com reviewer. It's time yet again for another episode of The Winning Opinion. Yes, this is Bruce Wayne. Bruce didn't get to see this movie because it's not on Amazon, and we know he only. But I did. This left me to just dip into a weird Bruce Winning review. So, this is his review. This has nothing to do with the movie. They can't all, folks. This is his review of the Ashton Kutcher, Katherine Heigl, action rom-com Killers. Does anyone remember this movie?
No, sir.
It's a movie where she falls in love with Ashton Kutcher and he's an assassin or something like that, right? It's
okay.
It's goofy.
Sure.
Bruce watched it though, and here's the movie's called Killers. So here the review is titled, "I've watched a movie before with the same title."
Nice.
I am
very good.
I am extremely glad that I just watched this. Killers is a title I just can't resist. I like the action and violence. I used to reject anything with comedy in description, so I don't think I have seen this one. I like the punching and kicking. I like the shooting and exploding. 5 out of 5 stars.
Oh, yeah. So he said, I like the killer title. So it's just any movie with that title.
He will watch anything that's called Killer or Killers.
Killer is a title I just can't resist.
You can't resist it.
No.
Yeah. We know that.
They must be killing people in this movie. Perfect.
Ooh, I do love murder.
I like the kicking and fighting. I like the shooting and exploding.
I love the interesting ways that people...
Oh my God, that's still the best, is the American Psycho
I like the brazing and grilling. What are you on about?
Was that the American Psycho one where he talked about, I enjoyed the creative ways to make a person dead?
Yes, that is the specific line.
Wow. That put him on some sort of checklist. I'm sure he was on a watch list.
We have talked
about
that guy.
We have talked about where we expect to be played back in court is in Bruce Winning's trial, where they follow our tracking of a serial killer being born.
It was there all the time. We should have been listening to the action shelf all the time.
Dean Cain and Eric Roberts are quite the formidable pairing. How about we come up with a new movie for them to face off in as we fire up our handy-dandy action movie title generator. And here we go. Let's come up with...
Also, this movie will also take place during Christmas.
Okay, there you go. Yeah, let's go about that. Here it is. The movie is called... Ooh, I think Dean can get some religious stuff in this. The movie is called Castle of Glory.
Ooh. Castle of Glory. Okay.
Is this a modern-day castle or a medieval castle?
Ooh.
I kind of like the idea
maybe a castle that when you go into it, it transports back.
Ooh, it's some kind of time portal.
Could be, or maybe we're going... symbolic.
Ooh.
And or maybe the character's name is Castle. Sorry, I'm looking at you, Castle, the series. And it is a very devout, or he's a disbeliever, a non-believer who through the course of this action adventure film, the only way he can win is by surrendering himself to Christ. And that's
Detective Matt Castle had lost his faith.
Yes.
Now, is Eric Roberts our villain in this?
Oh, he's a villain in everything.
Yeah. What is the villainous plan that through the thwarting of he will rediscover his faith? Like dead silence.
I have nothing.
He's got to be thwarting some okay.
It'll be something where he is a religious terrorist. So maybe he is blowing up churches because of some kind of it's anti-Catholic, he's blowing up cathedrals because of the hypocrisy of the Catholic Church.
Or what about this? Let me go this, and then you can mirror their two things and make him slightly sympathetic. God let my wife die. His wife died, so he blames the church because he prayed to save her and it didn't work, and so now he's destroying churches. And it will through Eric Roberts' vengeance-driven loss of faith, foiling that will get Dean Cain to believe in Jesus again.
And here's the twist: at the end of this movie,
Eric
Roberts does come around, but too late. He wins, but Matt Castle ends up stopping something, and it'll involve him getting quasi-crucified. He will die at the end in a Christ pose, pinned to rubble.
He'll die for Eric Roberts' sins.
Oh man. And the storm clouds and the smoke from the explosion part at the very end, and shafts of light come down on Matt Castle's dead body.
And then a big fist comes down and fist bumps, bumps Matt Castle.
And I'm saying this, I'm getting chills. Just
wait. Yeah. Can we take one set? He's crucified.
Oh, also I have the flu, so I'm getting chills because of that.
Post credit scene, he's in the morgue, sits up. He's been resurrected.
Yeah, now we got a franchise.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh my God.
Castle of Glory 2, The Resurrection.
Oh my God, I'm there. I'm watching this.
Oh my God, we have to show this in my church. So that's Christmas Rush. Next week on the show, Listman, continuing our month of Christmas movies, we'll turn to a different 90s action hero as Hulk Hogan shows up, folks. That's right.
The Hulkster's back.
The Hulk.
That's right, brother.
That's right, brother. It's Christmas time, and the Hulk is here. We are watching the amazingly titled Santa with Muscles.
Yep, Santa with muscles.
Santa with muscles.
I've never seen it, but that is, even when that first appeared, which of course direct to video.
Yeah, 1996.
All I could sit there, it was like they didn't even try.
Santa.
No, they didn't even try. Something like the Tooth Fairy, where it's like, what if The Rock is the Tooth Fairy? You don't call it like the Tooth Fairy, only is a big dude. But Santa with muscles?
Santa with muscles. Listman, as always, I will ask, would you like the tagline of Santa with muscles?
Oh, yes, please.
He's naughty, he's nice, and he's coming to save Christmas. This movie, though...
I'm worried about Christmas because it seems to be under attack almost constantly.
This movie, though, actually, aside from Hulk Hogan, it's too good of a cast. You've got Hulk Hogan. You've got our villain trying to ruin Christmas, Ed Begley Jr. You've got Robin Curtis from the Star Trek movies.
Oh, the other Savick.
Garrett Morris is in it.
Oh, the other Savick.
And, yes, the screen debut of one Mila Kunis.
Wow, that's her first movie?
Her first movie is Santa with Muscles.
Speaking of Ashton Kutcher,
Yeah.
I am jealous of the adventure you two are about to have.
Well, and we'll be joined next week by another friend of ours, Mike Gargoni, will be watching Santa with Muscles with us. So, Santa.
That's a good group.
I'm Santa, but I've been beefing up, brother. So yeah, there you go. And that'll be a little tease for our January spotlight on WWE films. So that's gonna do it. Brendan, thank you as always for joining us here. Of course,
you owe me for this one, pal. But anyway,
of course, we should mention you can be heard every week on Campbell and Jones Meet the Monsters here on the Punch Up Entertainment Network, and you have another podcast which does connect to the Dean Cain of this all. It's ostensibly a Superman podcast.
It's a very loose conversational podcast with my old friend Chad Smalley in Houston, Texas, who is a mutual fan of Superman specifically. But it's us just reconnecting over our love of pop culture stuff of the 70s and 80s, a lot of which has to do with Superman. So it's called Prodigious Saps.
Yep.
And it's actually recorded visually, so you can see my ugly mug.
You can watch it on YouTube.
And Chad's much more handsome and clean painted mug. He would make a good Professor X, don't you think, my friend Chad?
Actually, he would. Yeah, he's got that kind of look.
He's got a good beak.
He's got kind of a Grant Morrison look, I think, a little bit.
It is very Grant Morrison, but it's just us chatting about this stuff, so don't expect a lot of structure, and we will talk about Houston of the 90s and bands we've been in and things like that, so you'll get plenty that you don't care about. So please join us, won't you?
Yeah,
Prodigious Saps. Look it up on YouTube.
But that is going to do it for this week's episode of The Action Shelf. I'm John Campbell.
I'm Michael Isman.
Till next week, get yourself some action.
The Action Show. The Action Show. The Action Show.